Well, thanks a lot, Megawatt, and welcome along the World Wide Web at RacerTV.com to wild, wonderful West Virginia for this, the 11th round of America's premier off-road racing championship, the AMSOIL GNCC Series. Rodney Tomlin here, and rolling to the line first today, he is your number one and defending champion. He hails from Rogers, Ohio on an Infab Maxxis Ampro Yamaha, backed by LSR, MXP, and FMF. The number one, Walker Fowler. Rolling to the line today, second in points aboard the 521 from West Union, West Virginia. The last time he lined up in West Virginia, he was your winner at the Snowshoe GNCC on a CST LSR Induction Solutions DeRisi Racing backed Honda, Adam Gill. Rolling to the line third today, he rides aboard the number 4. Finishing third of the last round of GNCC. He is the winningest GNCC racer of all times. A 6-time GNCC champion on a Maxxis Fly Racing AMSOIL Bank Suzuki, Chris Borich. Rolling to the line next, he rides aboard the number 5 from Bidwell, Ohio on a Coastal Racing MSR Maxxis backed Yamaha, the Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal. Rolling to the line today, 5th in points. He rides aboard the number 3, fresh off second place at Unadilla GNCC just a couple of weeks ago from Casca, Pennsylvania on a JMR, ATVriders.com, DWT Honda, the Cobra, Jared McClure. Rolling to the line next, he rides aboard the number 733. He is 6th in points from Edinburgh, Pennsylvania on an Infab Maxxis Yamaha, former XC2 Pro-Am champ, the Coltrane, Cole Richardson. Rolling to the line next, he rides aboard the number 11, fresh off his best GNCC race ever with a top 5 overall at Unadilla out of Manchester, Maryland on a show hauler, Canyon Motorsports GBC backed Honda, Landon Wolf. Rolling to the line next, he is 8th in points, riding aboard the number 14 from Akron, Ohio on a B&R Maxxis Moose Racing backed Yamaha, Josh Merritt. Rolling to the line 9th today from Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania on a Precision Axis Maxxis Pro Graphics backed Yamaha, Jay Shadron. Rolling to the line next, he is 10th in points. Mr. GNCC himself from Aurora, Ohio on a GBC HMF Fly Racing backed Yamaha, Johnny G, Johnny Gallagher. Rolling to the line next, he rides aboard the number 20. Hailing from Montrose, West Virginia. He is a super huge threat, according to Walker Fowler, when it comes to the rocks of the Mountain State. On a Sturdivant Racing Honda, Brad Sturdivant. And last, and certainly not least, welcoming back to the GNCC Racing Nation, he rides aboard the 341 from Medina, Ohio on a Wolf Racing backed Honda, Brian Wolf. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this, the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Mountaineer Run GNCC. As they fire them up and get them warmed up one final time before we shut them down and get them ready to go. And a mad dash into that first turn. Just a little under 200 on our starting line here this afternoon. This morning, over 250 and 100 or so youth racers this morning. Plus, we still have to come micro 50cc motorcycles and ATVs coming up at 4:30 and 5 o'clock today. So GNCC rolls back into West Virginia with a mission this week, my friends, and that is to give you folks coming here for the homecoming, if you will, in the shadows of the Racer Production headquarters in beautiful Masontown, West Virginia. Ricky Towery going through his final starting procedures, some things that he has to do. He had now got all the tools that he is going to need to make today's race get underway without a hitch. Welcoming out Paul Browley from Amsoil, the first in synthetics. And Paul, it's good to have you out here, brother.
Yeah, it's awesome to be here. I love coming to a new state, especially this close to your guys' hometown, West Virginia. So it's awesome to be here. I can't wait to see some good racing.
No doubt about that. We'll be talking with Paul. Paul's going to help us with a couple of 10-second calls coming up here in a few moments. But right now, Ricky Towery signaled to the riders on the starting line. We are 1 minute, actually less than a minute to go for GNCC racing to get underway. And of course, our riders to be rolling into that first turn and looking at that second turn in the $250 hole shot award. Your All Balls Hot Cams hole shots here today. As our attention up to Ricky Towery up here in turn one right now as he throws that blue flag. Shut him down, guys. Shut him down, shut him down, shut him down. We are now less than 30 seconds away from going GNCC racing for the second time this season right here in the great mountain state of West Virginia. As we turn our attention to Ricky Towery, he lets these riders know, and all of us know, well, I got to ask you right now before he does that, are you ready to go GNCC racing? All right, I tried to trick you and shake you up a little bit, but I'm going to try it one more time because this is a homecoming for GNCC. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC racing? 10 seconds. And row number one, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at our Mountaineer Run GNCC. Rounding the first turn, heading to that $250 all-ball hole shot award. It's going to be Chris Borch, but it's Landon Wolf taking the early lead, and Borch in the number 2 spot. LW11 with the lead as we go to the XC2 Pro-Am class now. Marty Christopherson, Randy Hamilton, Greg Covert, James Green, Kenny Schick, Levi Cohen, Wins Kinsley, Andrew Connors, Cody Collier, Danny Rogers, Bryson Hobbs, J.D. Brown, Matthew Lindell, Dwight Pollard, Wesley Wolf, Billy Dalton, and Devin Masters all ready to go on Ricky Towery's cue as he lets these riders know it's time to roll in 10 seconds. And they're off. Blue flag is waving. Another $100 in our All Balls Hot Cams whole shot award for these XC2 Pro-Am riders. And it's Randy Hamilton, the 16. The Gerald McCall Racing ATVRiders.com back ride right there, taking to the early lead as we go next to row 3, the Vet A 30-plus class now. And this, my friends, folks like A.J. Coons, Todd Muscala, the Marlboro Man, Kenneth Kelly, Jeffrey Pickens, Dirk DeCesar, Eric Vallejo, Kevin Pedersen, Jared Little, Wallace Schumacher, Joe Margaria, Dustin Hendershot, Brian Shaw, and Adam Reed. 10 seconds. Rounding the first turn in our Vet A class now, mad dash down the hill. It is going to be the 98 of Jeffrey Pickens, his wife, Tracy Pickens, 9-time GNCC WXC champ, actually took the overall win this morning in the WXC race. As we go next to the college age 16 to 21-year-old Devin Fionn, Drew Landers, Nick Royalty, Hunter Hart, Logan Wagaman, Brandon Eichert, Braden Schick, Seth Wilson, Corey Silverthorne, Jonathan Steiner, Torrin Johnson, Tyler Ware, Shane Kittle, Tanner Walker, and Bodie Lamoureux. 10 seconds. And the College A are off and rolling now. Rounding that first turn. Oh, slice and dice, if you will. It's going to be the 926. Tanner Walker out of Berlin, Pennsylvania, on a Freedom Power Sports Fly Racing Max's Tires Back machine. Their College A off and rolling next to the Junior A 22-plus class. Riders like Stevie Covert, also Matthew King, Cody Wolford, Nicholas Mastrangelo, James Mauger, Jeff Miller, and Josh Konachek, all ready to roll on Ricky Towery's cue. 10 seconds. And the green flag waves on the Junior A as they roll into that first turn. Getting it all sorted out now. And it's going to be the 533, Jeff Miller from Summersville, West Virginia. Miller grabs that early lead and tries not to look back at this point on as we go to the Senior AB class. These riders all 38 years of age or older. We got Mark Batson on that Media All-Stars machine, also Rusty Repass, Andy Cooper, and Dottie Masters ready to roll next as Ricky readies the Senior AB class in 10 seconds. Around the first turn, Senior AB 38-plus class rolls. 704, Rusty Repass from Mooresville, North Carolina, taking the early lead in this one. As we go next to the Vet B 30-plus class, Brian Locke, Alan Tuttle, Philip Thayer, Justin Dillard, Charlie Rogers, Rocky Anderson, Matt LePage, Lyle Morrison, Delbert Ringer, Wes Binks, Corey Blinkowitz, also Chris Bennett, Josh Salsa, Drew Carl, Joseph Hall, John Colvin, Ricky Zorn. 10 seconds. Kevin Wright, Matthew Briggs, Dale Batson, Tim White, and Nathan Pierce. Another big class, 22 riders rolling into this first term. And that is the 87 of Alan Tuttle on the Bobby Cycles Allegiance Tuttle's Tire Back machine. Tuttle out of Mooresville, North Carolina again, and we go next to the College B class. Scott Pearson, Donald Boylan, Andrew Manbeck, Joey Lambright, Morgan Flannery, Ezra Barrick, Joseph Yerkson, Greg Steiner, Mitchell Eddie Blute, Michael Anderson, Craig Crispin, Kyle Fox, Caleb Hagan. Also looking at Logan Weisenauer, Caleb Lloyd, Travis Spencer, Frankie Egrass, Ryan Vest, Chandler Berner, Tyler Swindle, Corey Vandelire, Eli Kiger, and Ethan Fitro in 10 seconds. And around the first turn they roll. And whoa, 232. Morgan Flannery out of Mercerburg, PA, stealing it from the inside on the GBC Motorsports DeRisi Racing Hauser Racing machine, it looked like there. Junior B 22-plus class coming up next. Brian Felicki, Kelly Skinner, Chris Ballou, Brett Fike, Evan Timko, David Kite, Charles Dawson, Jay Turner, Sean Reynolds, Travis Jones, Skylar Ella, Evan Soda. Also looking at Travis Brandt, Jake Callahan, Justin Farrell, Chasen Bush, Roger Norman, Travis Thompson, Ryan Bobus, and Jonathan Tigg. And 10 seconds. And there you have it. The final start of the afternoon for ATV PM program is off and rolling, and this one going to be led by the 515 of Chasen Bush. Chasen Bush out of Bloomington, West Virginia, on board that Yamaha. And that is going to wrap things up down here on the start. Again, folks, remember, pay attention to where you're at all times. Keep an eye on the kids, and, well, most importantly, have a great time while here in the home state of Racer Productions and this Mountaineer Run GNCC. And of course, we'll be back with more. Fred Andrews, Megawatt Matt Watson will be back here on RacerTV.com right after this.
Maxxis Tires.
Here at Rocky Mountain ATV MC, our goal has always been to get you the best price and provide quality service. Now, we're giving you one more reason to shop with Rocky Mountain. We call it Quick Cash. It's simple to get. Just place an order with a qualifying Quick Cash item and get cash to spend on your next order. Try it out today. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to RacerTV's coverage of round 11 of the Amsoil GNCC Racing Series presented by Maxxis here at Masontown, West Virginia. I'm Megawatt Matt Watson, joined by Fred Andrews, and of course our host Rodney Tomlin will be with us in just a few moments. Well, Fred, here we are, man, back in the Mountain State, only a few minutes away from the RacerX and Racer Productions offices, and a familiar piece of ground to you, Fred.
Sure is, Megawatt. You know, this is a good facility here. It's what West Virginia is all about. We got ups, we got downs, we got rock beds, we got creeks, we got a lot of stuff going on here. But as you can see by watching TV here today, that we're missing a little bit of moisture in the ground, you know. We've been getting a lot of rain in Ohio and other parts of the country, but right here in West Virginia, we've kind of missed it. So it's going to be a little bit of dusty out there today.
You know, Fred, it's been regional in our rain. We've actually had rain 30 and 40 minutes from here, but the sporadic rain here on the mountain doesn't do any good because what's water do? It runs downhill. So as soon as it rains on this piece of property right here, the majority of that water is going to run off with these hard conditions. And what you see right now is a dusty single track.
Yeah, and that's where the start really comes in of the importance today. You know, you're going to want to get a good start, get out there in the lead. And right now, I'm not sure who was leading. I missed on the TV, but you know, I think if Walker Fowler's probably going to try to get the start, Adam McGill, he's going to be wanting to come here to beat Walker Fowler because, you know, he had a little bit of trouble there in New York last week.
Was there something with Adam McGill showing up late? He had some issues or something? Didn't get here till this morning, I believe?
Well, you know, with Adam McGill, you watch him with the line. He's a showster. He likes showing off to people. He likes getting the crowd into it. So, you know, he could have done that on purpose today just to mess with everybody. That's just the kind of guy Adam McGill is.
Absolutely, little Trump action there. Get the media talking, get the crowd talking, and bring the excitement. So you can always count on Adam McGill for that, no doubt about it. Watching our fans now, Fred, making their way back out into some of the wood sections. The track to start, of course, is over. Did not get a make on exactly who that was out front as they made their way by. So as our riders work their way back into timing and scoring, maybe we'll get our scroll working here in just a few moments. But as we get into some of the cameras located out in the woods, it's going to be much easier for us to bring you an ID and let you know where your favorite riders stand right now. But Fred, time to take a look at this course. They've changed a few of the sections just a bit, but you know what? Same old mountaintop. It's what everybody expects. They find elevation change. They find big rocks. Going to find a little bit of that dust in these high-speed fields, but you know what? As you said, typical West Virginia.
Yeah, you know, Megawatt, once you get in the woods, there's not going to be any dust. You know, the sun really can't get in there that well, and the rocks don't make dust. So
right.
The wood section is going to be really good. We're going to have a little bit of dust issue out here in the open, but nothing that these guys aren't used to, and that's part of racing. You got to race whatever is thrown at you. But the wood section is probably where all your passing and all your is where everything's going to happen. Is what I'm trying to say. You know, out here in the open, you kind of got to follow the leader, and you kind of got to watch the guy ahead of you because you can't see anything for the dust. So if he hits a bump, you kind of get ready and you hit that same bump.
Exactly what Cody Miller said on the Pro 4x4 podium just a little bit ago. The way he was able to make the pass on Brian Buchanan was got on the back of the seat, opened up the throttle, watched Brian's head move a couple times to anticipate the bumps, then pulled out to make the move on faith, blind faith.
Ooh, that's scary because, you know, when you're pulling out into the dust, anything could be there. You know, there's rocks all over this ground everywhere.
And you and I have talked about that before. Everybody has a different comfort level in that position on how fast you're really willing to go, how big of a chance you're going to take, where are you in the points position, what does it mean for an overall. But
and how you're feeling that day. You know, some days you just feel like you're on top of the world and you're not afraid to do anything, and you roll the dice and it happens perfect every time.
Other days you're sketched out as soon as you come out of the woods.
Yeah,
as soon as you click into fourth, you're sketched out. So.
Yeah, other days you know it's not your day. You just need to follow a little bit. But you know, the main thing is in the wood out here in the dusty sections like that is just stay with the guy. Stay as close as you can in that dust, because the closer you are, the less dust you're going to have. And when you get into the woods, that's where you can try to make your move. And you know, all these guys have walked the track, so they've all got different lines. And we've been here a year or two, so everybody kind of remembers a little bit, bits and pieces here and there. And like you can see, the woods are beautiful.
Yeah, the woods look great. And you know, you hit the nail on the head again. You said stay as close to that competitor as possible. This looks like our leader now, Walker Fowler. Now, not sure what that mile marker is exactly where he's at there, Fred, but already entering that rock garden right now. Walker looking good. I don't see second place in sight right there.
No, I don't either. You can see that Ampro Yamaha's working really good, and Walker Fowler, he's just motoring right through all them rocks. And actually, he's looking over his shoulder to see where the next guy is, and he couldn't see him.
No, absolutely. Just seeing second place work their way in right now.
Brian Wolf?
Yeah, that's who it looks like.
Another rock specialist. You know, we talked about him last time we were in West Virginia about at Snowshoe, how he could, you know, he's a make-or-break kind of guy. And here he is again. He's up there in second place right now, and there goes Chris Borge. Looks like he was in fourth place.
You know,
third place.
We just come out of Unadilla with a different type of rock. And then when you go a few hours from here to Snowshoe, they have yet another kind of rock. So now here we are at Masontown with a flat shale, square edge kind of rock that really presents its own kind of challenge.
Yeah, you can see these guys going through there on the four-wheelers like this. They're bouncing right and left and up and down, and them rocks are staying in the ground. And some of the other ones are actually moving as they're going at them. So there is no real rhythm to get through there. You just kind of lean back, keep the gas steady, and get across them, because you never know what's going to happen. And all these spectators are here, so this FMF PowerPoint maybe with the banner here, it looks like, but it's a really good section, and it's going to be interesting to see how many guys can get through this section without getting bottlenecked up.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, because you called it right there. There will be a bottleneck there at some point in time. All of the lines are out right now, so it's a matter of when everybody catches everybody after that first time through the finish line. On the second lap in the morning race, Fred, there were about 30 quads lined up to get through the finish line because those last rows all got caught up with the leaders. Then 15 minutes later, not a bike in sight. So you're going to see a similar type situation here, I'm sure.
Yeah, and when you can see these quads coming through this area here, you can see all the rocks moving around and bouncing around, and some of the rocks are higher and lower than the others, so you actually do have to pick your line. You just can't power through there, because any one of them big rocks sticking up could take your chain guard out or hit your sprocket or bend your disc. So, you know, it's just not power through there. You got to choose your right line.
Is this Chris Borsch coming through right now?
No, Chris. I think Chris
Wesley
went
Wolf.
through.
There we go. Wasn't able to see that number plate. Actually, a green number plate on the front of that one, and Wesley picking his way through there pretty quick and looking very light on the quad.
Yeah, you know, most of these guys are getting through this section no problem, like we just talked about a little bit ago. It's going to be when the lappers get here and some of the other guys come in a group of 5 or 6 guys in a row, and everybody's trying to fight for that lead or fight for position, is when they're going to start to get bottlenecked up and start rubbing wheels. But right now, you know, it's you can see, look how them back ends are just kicking around right and left, and they're still powering forward.
Yeah, we're going to power through this section right here, and I tell you, Fred, I see some passes going to take place in here later in the race. I see some guys really kind of sizing this up just a bit and already looking for escape routes for when this thing does get jammed up. And I tell you, somebody's going to capitalize on it, and somebody's going to lose, I'm sure, right here.
Yeah, there's going to be some definite passing going on in this situation right here. You can see some of the dust is starting to kick up a little bit right now here on this uphill section, but it's not very bad. It just comes up and goes right back down. So this would be a good section for all the spectators to be out and watch, and you can see there's a whole bunch of them. You can see people are starting to point lines, and some of the crew members are there already. They're kind of looking, saying, okay, this is the main line right now, but if something happens, may go out, like you said, they're already looking for an alternate route, because you can't afford to be stuck in a situation like this.
Yeah, it's not going to be the main line for long. I give it maybe 2 to 3 laps tops, and you're going to see your leaders going a little bit left, a little bit right. I see a couple openings there myself that I would use for an escape route, and it's only going to be a matter of minutes before that main line changes, and you're going to have a main racing line either to the left or right of what you see right now.
Yeah, and too, when some of the faster guys come up on the slower guys, even where that gentleman's sitting right now, I mean, I can see guys coming through there just to get around them, because you got to make the passes happen in these wood sections, because out there in the fields it's going to be super hard to do.
Yeah, and you mentioned where this gentleman's sitting right now. A totally legal line. within the racing course. And when we have a bottleneck or we have these guys single file through there, that's all open territory, all open game. Now, you mentioned the dust not as bad out in the woods. Well, there's a couple reasons for that. You don't have the heat hitting it as hard. And believe it or not, this is going to sound funny, it's a heavier dust. You've got that rock particle, you've got that heavier grit, so it doesn't fly and become airborne quite as much as, say, your field dust, which is strictly topsoil that's been ground to a powder.
You're 100% correct.
How about that? That's my Bill Nye science. That's my Bill Nye science guy lesson for you for the day right there. That's heavy dust.
Your science teacher's so proud of you right now.
I doubt it. All right, wait for the next of our riders to come through, Fred. Now, a good rock rider yourself, you were always very competitive in the rocks. You were always able to find good lines. As we take a look at these guys right now, I tell you, we've already mentioned that line's going to move, but what is also going to happen, these rocks are going to become more exposed. What we're seeing here right now, what little bit of dirt is in there is going to be gone in the course of the next hour or so, and that's going to be solid rock.
You're right. The rocks are actually kind of, like you said, they're going to grow. That dirt's going to get flung up and pushed out of the way, and these rocks are going to grow deeper and deeper. And like we said earlier, that's where you got to be careful. That one rock could take you out for the whole day, so you got to really pick your lines well.
I tell you what, you got to trust your bead locks today too, huh? You got to make sure those things are on there right, and when you're picking those lines right there, you better have good faith in your rubber and your wheels today.
Yeah, and speaking of rubber today, I was talking with the CST guys this morning, and Adam McGill's got some really good tires. I think that'll be good out there today. They came out with a new compound, and they're really super soft lugs. You can almost take the lug and bend it around in a circle, and it just springs right back to it. So I think some super grippy tire like that today may be a real good advantage for him out there in these rocks.
Absolutely grippy. That's why dirt bike guys a lot of times will run a trials tire, because it will conform to the rock, Fred. What you're going to find is a tire that will actually adhere to and grip the rock.
Yeah, even though that trials tire doesn't work well in the mud, most of the track, probably 80% of this track's going to be rock, so you better have the tire working right in those conditions and not so well in the other. You can just get by on the other 20 or 30%, but in your main race track, if you can have that tire working, it's going to be a great big advantage today.
Yeah, and something as small as that is going to make a huge difference. You have the wrong tire today, you have the wrong compound, things can go bad because when you're back there floundering, when that bike's spinning and that bike's sliding side to side through these rocks or you're fighting it, the guy who has that right tire is going to simply walk over top of the rocks.
Yeah, and it's a confidence thing. If your confidence isn't good going into that section and you start having trouble, you're going to have trouble all over. If you've got confidence going into that section and you get through it good, it's going to carry you through the other sections. So if you have a good area, it's going to carry you through your bad sections to keep you going.
Right. Looks like the rider's starting to get spread out a good bit here, Fred. Starting to see a bit of a gap in between some of these riders. Not sure what mile marker we're at right here, right now. We see the Moose Racing banner right there. Not sure how far we are in right there, but waiting for the leaders to make their way through this section. And once again, you take a look at a totally different type of terrain than we see at the other FMF PowerPoint over there. Much more dirt. The rocks are much more spaced apart, and you're seeing much more dirt in between these rocks. So a different look than we saw just a few miles down the trail.
Yeah, right now I'm not sure if I think it's like an off-camber section coming down right there, and it looks like it's more of a one-line section than a big open rock garden like we were having a little bit earlier in the show.
All right, well, Fred, we've got a special right now. We've got a feature right now with Landon Wolf that we'd like to take a look at.
Features.
Wow, what a difference the track is at Unadilla compared to here. You see that dirt was nice and moist, and it was slippery, but it was a grippy kind of dirt. Now here we go in the dust. Here comes Walker Fowler through that section we were just talking about, Megawatt. You see how he's standing up on the pegs? He's letting the bike work underneath him. He's not sitting down on all that rock section. He's letting the bike work, not beating him up. If you're sitting down right there, the bike's just going to kick you all around and beat you up. He's got that Yamaha working good. He's standing up. And here comes Wolf.
Yeah, that is Landon Wolf.
No, not Landon Wolf. Brian Wolf.
Oh,
Brian Wolf's
I'm
still
sorry.
in second place on his Honda also, so he's still hanging in there doing good. making his way around there in second place here. And here comes our third place rider.
That's a coastal rig right there. Is that Bryson Neal?
Bryson Neal, yep. Bryson Neal in third place right now.
Bryson went to our school program yesterday and did an absolute wonderful job with the kids, and what a great ambassador.
And I think Chris Borge was in fourth place, and then fifth, sixth, and seventh are all close together. Looks like Coltrane right there bringing up maybe seventh place.
Look like another MFAB machine. Yep, the Coltrane.
Hey, you know, the Mountaineer run here this... we just got with it, but that was McGill behind Richardson. So we've got the top 7 or 8 guys pretty close. You know, first place, Walker Fowler, he's got a good lead. Brian Wilson second, and then third through 8th, they're all pretty close together. So we're having some good racing back there in the middle of the pack. Right now we got some more guys coming through here, coming through the rocks. You got a spectator there trying to help him out, pointing up some lines. You see he's got his lights on there. He's a little bit shining at us.
Yeah, not sure exactly, again, what mile marker this is at, but we don't have a big group of spectators back there, not a large contingent of fans in there yet, so I'm not sure exactly where we are. But a totally different resemblance, a totally different look, has no resemblance to, say, Unadilla or Snowshoe, either one, when you take a look down that trail.
No, I think right after this section, too, is one of the parts where they come out in the big open field where these guys can test to see where they're at in the situation. There's another guy getting stuck on the tree. So this here's starting to be a little bottleneck right here, Megawatt.
Yeah, what's going to happen now is you're going to get exposed root in the middle of those rocks. And if you catch an A-arm, you catch a wheel, you catch something on the bottom of that quad, a skid plate, it's just going to stop the forward momentum instantly.
And this poor guy coming by right here right now, he's got his goggles off already. So that's going to be bad news when you get out in those big dusty fields.
Yeah, going to be a problem.
There's one over. 2 guys racing for one line right there.
Yeah, and that looked like a barrel roll too, Fred. That's not the way to get off of a quad by any means.
No, looks like he's up and going. He's going to flip her back over, and he's going, what the heck happened here? Who put this big rock in my way?
Luckily, he was able to step off of that quad before he landed underneath of it, and it took him down for the count. But looked like he was able to get away, and guess what? Up and underway one more time.
Back and rolling, yes he is. It sounds like we got the pro riders maybe coming through Pro Row right now, right behind us.
Yeah, they should be right behind us right now. Sounds like they're making their way over to the finish line, so be curious. All right, should be able to check in with timing and scoring here in just a second, be able to get us an exact standing, be able to see some of those margins right now, Fred. So,
yeah, there's Walker Fowler right now, maybe going right through Pro Row. Coming out here in the open middle section. You know, one thing about this facility, it's a giant big place. It's got nice big flat parking for everybody, so we got really good area for all the spectators and for Pro Row to be. And man, Walker Fowler's got one heck of a lead right now.
Yeah, looking back, not seeing anybody in sight right now. Got clear track, got clear vision, and right now, Walker having nothing to deal with but the track itself.
There we go right now. We've got our screen back on. We lost our camera there for a second, but we're back now. You can see right now it looks like Chris Borge going by right there, and I think that's Adam McGill right behind him. I think he was wearing yellow. Oh, no, maybe that could be Adam McGill. And there's Cole Richardson, but whoever it is, everybody's in a heated battle right now. We got guys fighting for position, and that's what we want to see.
Doesn't matter where you're watching. Doesn't matter where you're watching right now, Fred. Like you said, there is a battle on the track. There's absolutely action from one end of this course to the other. And, I foresee that to be the way, all the way to the finish line. I think there's going to be battles all the way around this course all day long.
Hey, we got 2 more races after this left, so we're getting towards the end of the year, and everybody wants to start showing what they can do for the following year, because this is the time when you start to look for new sponsors and help and everybody. And, the saying is you're only as good as your last race. Well, these guys are going to do everything they can to get some good finishes in. Like this guy right here, look at this picture here. I go, wow, this guy is trying to pass on the outside. That's something that's hard to do.
Yeah, look at this. Really going for it right there.
Almost got it done.
You mentioned you're only as good as your last race, or you're remembered by your last race. Very true. And as we move into this part of the season, it couldn't be more true. Already got pretty much things locked up right now. Already got most of the point situations are of a margin where you're going to be pretty much at the end of the year. And, you know, a lot of things to consider. So going out right now, maybe not having the best season till now, it's very important to finish strong these last 3 rounds.
That is. And you can see this track right now starting to get more chewed up. But, you know, let's get to a commercial right now. We'll get back to some more live racing here on RacerTV.
Can't wait.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser.
Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best?
The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why
I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
The wrong coolant can give you bad stuff, like this and this. You need the right stuff. Evans Waterless Engine Coolant. It's waterless for a reason. Smart guys make it, and smart people use it. Don't take any chances. Get the right stuff. Go to evanscooling.com for more.
I've been with Liat for a lot of years, and I know the dedication they have for safety. When they told me they were coming out with a helmet, I signed right up.
At Rocky Mountain ATVMC, we want to help increase rider participation at your next race, rally, or club event with our free Race Gas program. Join Race Gas, and every rider that signs up for your event or club gets a free $10 gift card to Rocky Mountain ATVMC. It's that simple. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
All right, everybody, welcome back to 2016 Mountaineer Run Rocky Mountain ATV race here in Masontown, West Virginia. As you can see on the screen here today, we got a little bit of dust going on out here in the open fields, but as we've seen in the woods. It's a little bit better in the woods, not so much dust, but for some of the earlier section we were watching, Megawatt, you could see where the dust is actually, like you said, the dirt's coming out from in between the rocks and it's carrying it forward onto the rocks, which are kind of going to make the rocks a little bit slippery, so there's going to be a little bit more dust, but the rocks are actually growing.
Exactly. You're going to see that throughout the rest of this day, and then that's really going to come into play tomorrow on the bikes with 2 smaller wheels, with 2 skinny wheels. Man, oh man, line choice is going to be absolutely critical.
Well, as you can see, you know, the quads are coming through them sections, the back end's passing the front, but luckily those guys have got 4 wheels, so they're not falling over and having to worry so much. Now on a bike tomorrow, when that happens, you're in trouble. Right comes Walker Fowler right now through one of the open sections, heading up into the woods. Looks like he's starting to stretch his lead a little bit more. Then over our last thing was Brian Wolf, but I'm not sure if he's still in second or not, but of our last report he was. And, you know, Walker Fowler's just come on so strong this year.
Yeah, Walker having a stellar year, got some big wins, and you know, it's been amazing, Fred, to watch him with those wins. Normally this is how they developed. He got out front, got a great lead, built up plenty of real estate between him and the competitors, had clean racing ahead of him, so able to seal the deal early in a lot of his wins this year.
Yeah, you know, Walker Fowler's just doing exactly that. He knows what he wants to do. He gets in the lead and he just pushes hard. He gets that little bit of a cushion build up. And not saying he backs off, but he kind of slows down a little bit, gets back into comfort zone. And once he's in his comfort zone, you know, those guys just can't touch him. You cannot catch a guy when he gets that big of a lead.
Yeah, that's a totally different Walker Fowler when he gets in that mode right there. Looks like
Brian Wolf still in second place.
Looks like right now Brian Wolf's still out there making it happen. And, you know, you have certain types of tracks where guys really excel and really feel comfortable. Really.
All right, well, moving us in this.
Let's see here. Trying to get our timing and scoring over here right now on the screen. So we got word from the trailer that that's possibly Bryson Neal in the second place. Couldn't identify those graphics or that clothing at all.
Which is good, you know, for Bryson Neal and the Coastal Rig. You know, they're come close by here. And they're from Pennsylvania, right? Right on the border,
yeah,
Pennsylvania,
yeah,
West Virginia
Waynesburg
line?
area. Yeah, absolutely.
So that'd be a good ride for him and his hometown crowd.
Oh, yeah, you know he's got a lot of friends and family here. And like I said, he joined us with the school programs yesterday and just did a great job. Went to, I believe, Maplewood Junior High, Senior High, and I believe it was Westwood Elementary, Morgantown. But we've got a feature on that, I believe. We'll go ahead and take a look at that. All right, Fred, as you can see, a huge program yesterday. A lot of kids attending in both of those schools. And let me tell you something, very receptive kids. We had Dustin Hendershot with us. We had Bryson Neal, Lane Michael, Ian Flynn, Caden Lambruno went to the morning program with us, Emily Streets. And I tell you, all these kids really did a good job expressing what it takes to become a GNCC athlete, what it takes to win as a GNCC athlete. We talk about bullying, we talk about teamwork, we talk about goals and dreams, and just a great day and a big help from all of our riders, which are great role models as well as mentors.
Well, you can see by the video there how much fun the kids had. They had their gear on, they're out there running around, and you went to some things at school, they put you in the gym, the auditorium, wherever, and they kind of showed you stuff, and you're kind of like, oh, yeah, whatever. But, you could see the kids were really into this, and it was awesome to see that.
Yeah, man, I can tell you right now, we have a great program. We have a lot of fun together. Being the old man I am, a little hard for me to run around that gym and keep up with those kids.
I saw you standing in the middle, just jumping up and down.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. But you know what? It's a great program. It's a great program, and it's something we're going to pursue and continue for a long time to come.
Yeah, and don't forget, everybody, we got the AMSIL Twitter contest. So all you do is tweet your podium finishers, just your predictions to hashtag GNCC Live, and then they don't have to be in the right order. Just pick your top 3 guys and tweet them to us. You can only win if you tweet. So give us a tweet and see who your predictions are.
I can tell you this much, Fred. It's a good thing we don't have to pick them in order because we have not done too good this year. Johnny Gallagher and I batting almost 0 on the bikes, and you and I haven't done a lot better picking these quad winners.
Well, you know what? That's good. That's what makes GNCC racing so exciting. You never know who's going to win.
Exactly.
And it's never over till the finish. I mean, Walker Fowler could be a mile ahead, and something can happen. Anything can happen. It's never over till you get that checkered flag.
And that's exactly right, Rodney. That's what makes it so different than any other form of motorsports. It doesn't matter on 2 wheels or 4. You're going to have that situation. That's exactly how things are going to work at a GNCC race, and that's what you're going to find because of this competition.
I mean, unfortunately, I know I've been winning races and already counting the money and spending it on Monday, and next thing I know, I'm on the ground. So you gotta keep focused. You might say you slow down a little bit, but if you slow down, you still got to keep that focus. And sometimes it's even worse when you slow down because then your focus isn't right and you hit the ground. So
now things are looking totally different to you. You've changed that pace. You've got a different state of mind now. Now you've got a different strategy, but all of a sudden you have to adapt everything from the riding, the mind, the physical exertion. Everything has to go with that pace.
And then all of a sudden you're on the ground, you get this panic mode, and you start riding like an idiot and fall down again. So
heart rate goes through the roof, anxiety goes through the roof, and like you said, all of a sudden you have to ride like a madman. The energy level drops out your toes.
Yeah, and there goes you're spending the money on Monday.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're spending money all right, but it's coming out of the savings account.
Yeah, and some of the wood sections that we see, like those rock gardens, they're kind of slow. They're about medium speed. Now you can see here in the open, we got places where you can rev your motor and you can get after it and try to make up time. But I think most of the time it's going to be made up in those rock sections, like we talked up about it. If you can get through those things clean with a little bit of speed, you're going to make some time because it's going to be hard to get through those every lap perfect.
You know what I always said, Fred? Anybody can go fast in the fields. Anybody can, really ramp it up in the flat and, in the straightaways. But it's a matter of being able to be technical, being able to take the rough conditions, smooth them out, and be smarter than the guy ahead of you.
Yeah, you're right. It's all made up in your turns in those rock gardens. Places that are gnarly and tricky, if you can get through those faster, that's where you're going to make your time because, just like you said, anybody can go fast in these fields. And lap riders, like right now, these guys are coming up here, this kind of 4 or 5 lanes coming down the one. So if you can nick one of these guys and get by, and you can have a guy that's chasing you, get in between you and a lapper, you can put a little bit of time on them.
Exactly what you told us we would see right here. Starting to see that deep one line right now, that main line. Now, as these leaders catch these guys, which I'm going to predict is going to be the next lap.
Oh, yeah.
We're really going to start seeing some creative lines all through these banners. But it's a situation you called for now. 1, 2, 3, 4. These guys riding that single file right now, one of these guys is going to make a mistake, and that's going to open up a whole new section.
Yep, sure is. And too, when the leaders come up to them, they're going to be yelling and screaming at them, to let them know they're there to try to get around them. But the hard part is, with these 4-stroke motors, they're already a little bit loud. So when you're yelling at them, you really can't hear them. Back when I raced, we really didn't have many 4-strokes, and we were on 2-strokes, and you can actually hear more.
Fred, I don't know if it's because I'm sitting on top of them at the finish line or what, but I want to tell you, these quads, these big 4-stroke quads, man, They are loud, and I know they meet sound requirements, and so do the bikes, but I want to tell you there's a different note.
Yep. Two-stroke and the four-strokes are different sound, even though they meet the requirements like we require here at GNCC.
Decibel is one thing, tone is another, my man. Sure. Oh, shoot, Freddie.
Well, you know, these guys are out here. It's getting rockier and rockier, like we said. So a lot of things are going to happen out here. It's still early in the race. We're coming around the second lap. You know, Walker Fowler's in the lead right now. We had mixed reviews on who's in second. I think maybe it was Bryson Neal, then Brian Wolf maybe was in third, but we'll hopefully get a better update here for some track workers. But the track's, I think it's 10 miles long. Is that right, Megan?
I believe it is 10 miles long. Hey, Fred, I'm going to step out for just a second. Going to let Rodney sit in here for just a moment. And we're going to try to continue to get this timing and storing up and working right here. But give me about 2-3 minutes. I'm going to be right back in the chair, and we're going to see if we can make some progress here.
All right, well, we welcome Rodney back from the start. He's been a long way down the start to back here in the booth. And
Yes, I am. We got all kinds of great and crazy things going on right now outside of the great and crazy things going on the racetrack right now. And there is Walker Fowler, your leader now, and from what we can gather is starting to open up quite a substantial lead. He did something that I don't think that he thought was necessarily going to be the easiest thing to accomplish, because talking with him in pre-race interviews today, Walker was talking about he expected this to be not a blowout, not a runaway. He thought it'd be a lot tighter than what has been seen in recent races, especially there at Unadilla a couple weeks ago. And he was even talking about how hard it would be even to finish in the top 5, let alone get the win today. And here he is doing exactly exactly what he didn't think could be done. And conditions, Fred, I know that's one thing that we've been talking a lot about. It's dry coming in here to West Virginia, and people talk about dust. I know some of these field sections are kind of dusty. Some are not as bad because they got some water on them last night and this morning. And these overcast skies that we're seeing here today is actually aiding and assisting keeping that water in the soil right now, and it's keeping some of the dust down, and you don't see a lot of problems with it in the woods. You can see it kicking up, but we're blessed with enough rocks here that it's not really getting completely untraversable with not being able to see. There is the second place position rider that you see going by there, the number 5 of Bryson Neal. As we said, Brian Wolf was out in the number 2 spot early on. He has dropped back now a little bit. Brian only racing a couple of races so far this season, and seeing him out here and running so strong in his first lap, pretty exciting, no doubt about it, as he's holding steady right now.
That looks like Adam McGill right there in third place.
Was that McGill that got into the number 3 spot? Okay. And there's Chris Borch. He is 5th place now, as we see him working his way through the rocks. He actually got the whole shot, credit for the whole shot, and then Landon Wolf made the pass on him and took that lead into turn number 3 out there. There was Cole Richardson, the Colt train. Looks like he's feeling a little bit better than what he was there last week, getting that C. diff problem that he was suffering from earlier in the season. He has that again. That's what his problems was at Unadilla. They've been on medication now for about a week and a half, pushing 2 weeks. And he says he's feeling better. Still not where he wants to be, but nonetheless having Crohn's disease, and now the C. diff on top of that is really causing a lot of problems for that youngster.
Now, Rodney, you talked about Walker Fowler in your post-race interview about, he was going to be happy. He thought it was going to be real tough and fight, at a top 5 would be great for him. Well, I think when he gets the lead, Walker Fowler's not the kind of, he's a humble young man. He just goes out there and does what he does. He's not going to say he's coming here to go for the win or put it to him every race. I think that's just kind of guy he is. But when he gets out there in the lead and he got the start, I think it's a totally different ball game. He's good racing. He's got his face on, and he's going after him.
Well, there's Brian Wolf pulling over and letting another rider go by, and I think he's dropped back now to about 8th, maybe 9th place position there. I think he may have spent himself on that first lap. One thing, when you've not been on the track and been racing, it's hard to stay at that level for 2 hours, so a good blast is good for for you there, I guess. And Brian making some waves. You know, sometimes he can get out there and he can continue to ride that wave right on into bigger and better things. But unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be the case today. This track's a little rough, and I don't care if you're in shape or not in shape. It's going to take its toll on you. And if you're not in 100% shape or even close, then it's going to take its toll even quicker.
Yeah, that's for sure, Rodney. You know what Brian did was actually a good thing, because sometimes if you're not in the shape that you should be in, you can get with the leaders. They can actually pull you along with them. You know, you can ride on adrenaline, you can ride on just seeing them to keep them going. But Walker Fowler got so far ahead so quick. You know, Brian was kind of lost in his own little area, and then once the guys behind him started passing him, then it starts kind of working against you. And I believe we got a Walker Fowler feature coming up here we'll take a look at.
Yeah, we definitely came in with a plan to make a statement at the first race back. I think it's important to kind of assert your dominance over the rest of the pack. So we came in there with a plan and we executed it perfect, tested, tuned, and trained hard all summer. And I think it obviously paid off. This is the time of the year where we don't go out and push like we did at Unadilla and like we did at Florida and some of the other rounds. You know, try to basically just maintain at this point. And every time I come to the track, I come to win, but we have to look at that points lead. We have to look at the bigger picture at the end of the year. And, you know, championship number 2 is definitely the most important thing on our agenda right now. So a race like this, it's a little unpredictable, not quite as rocky as Snowshoe, but equally as difficult. This is a race where something bad could happen, and that big lead could go away just as quick as we, you know, got it. It's going to be important just to keep the machine running and score as many points as we can. I think what's going to be super important for tomorrow is getting a good start, but at the same time, I need to conserve the machine. It's going to be super dusty. We definitely don't want to get that air filter clogged up. If someone like Adam or Bryson that kind of knows this track and knows this terrain wants to get out and run the conditions that the track is going to be under, that if someone can get away, they could use it to their advantage with the dust. I know I need to ride conservative, but it's going to be so hard if I get the whole shot or get a good start to try not to get out of that dust cloud and get some sort of lead build up, because the track is going to lend itself to whoever. Yeah, we definitely came in.
Well, I think he was right about that. The track is certainly going to lend itself to whomever can get out in front and maybe put some distance between himself and the rest of the pack. The dust, like he said, in some of those open sections, and it could be a hindrance and stuff. Again, we're not really noticing that so much right here, but if you look on the edge of the woods, I think maybe that field section is a little dusty coming out there. But, you know, overall, looking out across the fields and things, with the warnings and as dry as it was, this is not as bad as what I thought it was going to be. It's not as bad as, say, Tomahawk earlier in the year when we were up in New York, I don't think.
Yeah, Rodney, and also we got the wind blowing too, and the wind's taking it through this little valley and pushing it out of the way. And most of our racing here is in the woods, so it's a little bit dusty in the open, but I think the riders are having no problem, like you said, with that, and the racing's going on in the woods.
Yeah, and again, the rocks are, I think, really helping combat the dust and keep that down quite a bit. As we take a look right now, our leaders are due in about 2 minutes for lap number 2 complete. Last check, it was Walker Fowler in front of Bryson Neal in the number 2 spot. And I believe that we saw the number 5 machine. Well, he was in second. Let's see, the number... who was that?
I think it was Adam McGill.
That's right. McGill had moved up into the number 3 spot, and that was up from 8th place if you look at him early on. So he made up some 15, 20 seconds or so on those guys out there, which in conditions like this is not hard to do at certain areas on the racetrack.
Yeah, and I think with Adam McGill being a West Virginia boy, you know, he wants to win in his hometown, or his home state, and he's good on the rocks. We saw him at Snowshoe. He's definitely good in the rocks, and he's making up time here. He's passing some guys coming from 8th or 3rd place is a huge thing for him. And, you know, maybe those CST tires he's got with them extra grip shinders are really working well for him on the rock sections.
Yeah, that's for sure. And the rock section certainly, I think, put up a lot of challenges for these guys. One of them in particular, one of the reasons is, physically demanding. I mean, mentally and physically challenging, because you know they're there, you feel them there, and it's wearing you out mentally because you know it's wearing you out physically. So, I mean, you got to be as mentally in shape as you are physically in shape, I think, whenever you ride rocks like this out here.
Yeah, especially when you're driving into the rocks like these guys are. You know you're going to be bouncing around, you're going to be hitting them, so you kind of even tense up a little bit. So you're using up more energy just grabbing holding on a little tighter than you normally would going through the woods when it's a nice, roots or something like that. And the rocks are definitely a lot more physical. And, you know, they're moving all around.
Yeah.
So your whole body's moving the whole time you're going through them.
Right, and it's going to take a lot more of your physical awareness to be able to do that. And speaking of physical awareness and physical fitness, we got Dom here from the program, who is actually a very celebrated trainer from the ATV motocross world. Recently picked up Chris Borch over the summer break, and we've already noted some big changes in his physical appearance on the podium and after the races, and the way he's even looking heading into the races. We say hello, Dom. We just saw Walker there about the 10.5, so he should be checking in here at the finish line soon. But Dom, welcome to GNCC, man. I know you're a big ATV fan. This is your first GNCC. Chris Borch, your first candidate there as far as the training program is concerned with the program, and things already seem to be working out for him, I think.
Yeah, I believe so. He's been on the program now 7 weeks. And this is the first time I've ever been to a GNCC. It's pretty wild. I mean, a lot more laid out, a lot wider spectrum of places to go watch than what at a motocross, huh? Absolutely, absolutely.
So what are some of the things you got Chris doing right now?
Well, we're doing a lot of the stuff that we do with like Joel, Hetrick, and all the pro guys on the ATV side, working on his sprint speed, because that's where I think Walker's getting them is in the beginning. I mean, Walker's got a pretty wild sprint speed, so that's where Chris, I believe, needs to work. Chris is always strong at the end of the motors when we watch him, but he needs to work on that. So we've been working on a lot of that, and from where he started to where he is now, I think we're gaining, but it seems like Walker's got a decent lead here.
Yeah, Walker's got a phenomenal lead as he rolls into the finish line through the AMSOIL switchbacks now and into the finish line for lap number 2 complete now. And that lap time was 25:44, which was a little longer than the first lap, but again, we were about a mile longer on racetrack than what we were on lap number 1, so that is kind of why we are seeing that happen. Now, the big question is, how big of a lead does he have? He had a 24-second lead over Brian Wolf at the end of lap number 1. We know Wolf has dropped back, and Bryson Neal was another 13 seconds back. So in essence, 37 seconds back was Bryson Neal at the end of that first lap behind Walker Fowler. The big question is now, how big is that gap as Neal makes his way into the finish line region right now, Fred Andrews? And I think it's probably a lot more than 37 seconds right now.
Yeah, it's definitely growing. I mean, Walker Fowler, like you said, he's sprinting right now. He's getting that big lead as he can, because then he's going to slow it back down just a little bit and know he's got that big cushion, because these guys are going to have to work to catch him right now, and he's in for the gas, in and out, no worries.
In and out of the pits before the number 5 of Bryson Neal has hit the finish line. He's into the AMSOIL chicane now as he makes his way through the final switchbacks there to the the finish line, where the checker flag will be a little later on, a little past 50 minutes into this, and almost 51 minutes into the race today. Bryson Neal checks in 1 minute and 10 seconds behind Walker Fowler. That, my friends, is pretty impressive. A 25:44, call it 25:45 because it's 0.9 there, as Bryson Neal got a 26:17, call it 18 because he had a 0.9 in his as well. So we're looking at 30-plus seconds faster on that lap than what Bryson was, and that's pretty impressive.
Wow.
30 seconds a lap faster. That's hauling the mail. There's no doubt, and that's got to make me wonder what everybody else is doing out there. Do they realize that Walker has that kind of a pace set? And that's the thing that Chris was talking about last race. After that last race, I talked to him. He said, you know, once he loses sight of Walker, he don't know what the pace is, so it's kind of hard to keep up and even, you know, not only match that pace, but let alone even try to exceed it, because he has no idea what Walker's doing. So he's going with what he thinks is right, but he says it's not. It's not being worked out. He says he don't know what Walker does when he gets up there, but whatever it is, it's magic.
Yeah, well, you know, that's where his pit crew's got to come in and tell him, hey, Walker Fowler's putting this much time on you. You've got to pick your pace up. And I think Mark Notman and the Ampro Yamaha team have got Walker's bike working really well, because you know, his bike's got to be working phenomenal for him to put 30 seconds on these guys, because they're all great riders and they're all in shape, but right now it's coming down to the bike's working. Walker's bike is working better than everybody else's, so my hat's off to the Ampro Yamaha team for getting it like that, and Walker's so comfortable right now on that bike, and that helps a lot too.
It does. It most certainly does. Chris Borch in the pits, by the way. Standings right now, McGill in the number 3 spot. He's 23 seconds back behind Bryson Neal. Jared McClure only 2.8 seconds behind him in 4th. And then Chris Borch another 21.5 seconds or so back in 5th. So Chris, talking about arm pump and things like that, that's one thing that he has issues with. I think he's tensing up a little more in the last year or so, Dom, and is there something that you guys have been able to work on that can help with arm pump, or is that just a mental thing they've got to be able to work through themselves? That comes with confidence, maybe.
Well, his training's pretty intense, and you would think that, you look at somebody like Joel Hetrick on the ATV side who had that issue and never has that issue now. And like you said, with the mental thing, I think he's going out there thinking, oh, I'm starting to pump up, I got to relax right away. And I kind of told him today, I'm like, just let it hang out. Try to follow Walker, follow his lines and see what he's doing. Obviously, if he's 30 seconds a lap faster than these guys, he's doing something. And he's got lines out there, and I don't know if it relates to the motocross side versus that, but I'm sure there's faster lines and slower lines, and I think you need to follow his lines and try to keep his pace to see exactly where you're at.
Exactly, and even though the course is long, it's the same concept and the same idea over a near 11-mile course right now. As we check in, we see Borich was in 5th, Cole Richardson is in the number 6 spot. Then we got Greg Covert checking in the 6th place overall position, as well as the lead in the XC2 Pro-Am class, and he's your points leader in that class. He's been giving everybody out there fits. Josh Merritt is 8th overall, Landon Wolf 9th overall, and still waiting right now on Brian Wolf to check in. I expect that Marty Christopherson will be in next, though, and he'll be 10th place overall, your 2nd place in the XC2 Pro-Am class. But look at this, man. We got several amateur riders there up front. Our top amateur rider right now is Jeff Pickens, the 98. He's 18th place overall of the Vet A28 Plus class, and then Hunter Hart, the number 318, is 20th overall from the college age 16 to 24-year-old class, or 16 to 21-year-old class. Hunter has, let me tell you, going to have his hands full. He may have the lead right now, but we saw that happen up in New York also, and he knows that he's got to push hard all the way to the end of this one. Well, folks, with Fowler out front, Neal in 2nd, McGill in 3rd, 4th, McClure and Chris Borich in 5th, everybody's got to ask the question, does anybody have anything to answer back to Walker Fowler? Stick around and find out. GNCC here from Masontown, West Virginia continues after this.
The Andersons discovered life is easier with an Outlaw RV. The Outlaw is a complete home on wheels with a multifunctional garage. Getting on the road has never been quicker. The Outlaw is made to fit the lifestyle of today's active families. So stop roughing it and start enjoying your weekends. Find the Thor Motor Coach Outlaw that fits your needs at GarageRVs.com today.
You smell it, you feel it, you can taste it in the air. Speed, man. Full wide open. Blast. I don't really like high school too much. Too booky, too take notes, learn this, and that's it. Got WildTech. They have full-size motorcycles. The feeling of taking them apart every day, putting them back together. Can't explain it. Everything I learned applies to now. Seeing your motorcycle that you put together right around the track at 180 miles an hour, oh, definitely rewarding. My name's Mike. My school's WildTech.
Get on the fast track to a career. Turn pro at WildTech.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tom along with Fred Andrews, Megawatt Matt Watson out and about somewhere, as he'll be checking in with us, I'm sure, very soon. And again, one of the more majestic, I don't know, I mean, we go to a lot of places. We're talking North Carolina and Steel Creek, it's beautiful there. We're talking Snowshoe, West Virginia, it's beautiful there. A lot of places all across here. But to me, something about Marvin's Mountaintop is the most majestic of it all. And I don't know if it's just, I don't know what it is, but it's the simplicity of it, whatever. It feels like sweet home in West Virginia. I mean, like almost heaven, West Virginia, as they like to say. And this is what when I think of West Virginia, Marvin's Mountaintop is what I think of. And
you're right, Rodney, because you can stay in one spot and turn around, and it's just different mountains all the way around you. Where most of the other spots were really not on that big hump in the middle and look around. What you can see a view one way, but then you got trees the other. This is just everywhere around you is just a big old mountain. It's really cool. And
yeah, I love it, and I love the fact that Racer Productions is only moments away from where we are right now.
They all get to sleep in their own beds tonight. Saves money for the company. No hotel rooms.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, and that's really cool too, because like we say, we know Racer Productions as the GNCC, but man, Racer Productions is so much more with MX Sports, Racer X Illustrated, and even ATVs,
they're in everything.
Lucas Oil, I mean, you name it, there's a little bit of everything, and we had a chance to stop over to the office and catch up with the folks and talk a little bit more in depth about that and the history of Racer Productions.
When the company started, we were working out of our house on Brockway Avenue. And then in 75, we moved out to Cheat Lake and had a garage that we kind of, Mom and Dad turned into a little bit of an office. So, you know, half of it was dirt bikes, the other half was a desk. And then it just evolved from there to the point where when Racer X started, we had to get an actual farmhouse to use as an office. And then it evolved and grew to the point where we had to get a bigger building. And the Ethan Allen Furniture Building happened to be vacant and the perfect size for what we wanted to do. And now it's we're still here, been here for about 12 years, and it's the perfect building for the kind of things that we do, because there's a lot of people that work here and a lot of people, a lot of different responsibilities, but it's all sort of interactive, whether you're on the magazine side or the production side. But we grew up on Brockway Avenue here in Morgantown, West Virginia, and I think we all just decided to stay here. My brother and sister and I all graduated from WVU, and we were lucky enough to get to see the world, even though we stayed in the same town our whole lives, because racing took us everywhere from Japan to Europe to wherever. Morgantown's a really cool town. You have the universities here. You have a lot of resources that you can take advantage of, and when your commute is 4 miles, that's a pretty good way to go to work every day. And yeah, it's a fun place to be and a fun place to work.
Davey Coombs, of course, the son of Big Dave Coombs, and Carrie Jo, who we all know a lot here at GNCC, her brother. And wow, you know, a big part of you're probably not realizing just exactly how much racer production has to do with the world of off-road racing, man. I mean, motorcycles.
Any kind of racing.
Yeah.
I mean, they brought it all, elevated it all to a new level.
Yeah, they have. Right out of Morgantown. And I mean, if you ever get a chance to stop over there and check out the museum, it is certainly a great thing to check out. Again, Walker Fowler continues to lead. Bryson Neal, Adam McGill, Jared McClure, and Chris Borich. And Cole Richardson is 6th. Greg Covert, your leader in the XC2 Pro-Am, is up to 7th overall now. And look at that, man. That's one of them fast field sections they were talking about. That's where guys can make up some time out there. That's LW right there, Landon Wolf. And he's lost a lot of time. It looks like he's trying to make some up out there.
You know something I noticed, Rodney, while we were on commercial, and just why this piece is going right here, is the weather's starting to change. It's starting to get cooler.
Yeah.
The wind's kind of picking up, and I'm not sure if rain is coming in or not, but if the rain did come, that would really make things interesting.
It would. It would help out as far as the dusty conditions. What it would do for everything else, I'm not quite sure. But it would definitely change the face of this race in a matter of a heartbeat, especially if it comes during this race. And might tighten things back up, and I'm kind of surprised again that it isn't already tight, like even Walker was talking about earlier this morning. But just want to take this opportunity once again to say thanks to Dominic, who stopped by here from the program. Now, Dom, again, just making your bid into GNCC, a high-intensity program, that training program that incorporates diet as well as mental and physical aspects of it all, huh?
Absolutely.
Now, how would somebody get a hold of you if they wanted to find out more about that, Dom?
Well, we're on Facebook at the program and on Instagram at the program training, and all the info's on there. Phone number, the brochure, all that stuff. I'm at all the ATV motocross national races. I'm going to try to make more GNCC, so I'll be here. People can talk to me as well.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing you. The program, check it out on Facebook. Dom, thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing more of you in the future, bro.
Thank you, guys.
And I tell you, Fred, I know training's come a long way, man. I mean, I know you guys used to train years ago, and coming from a motocross background, you and Rodney Smith and Steve Hatch and all you guys probably innovated training back in the day, so to speak. But even since you were doing it, it's changed so much, and the level has increased so much.
Oh, yeah, Rodney. I've been fortunate enough to have great riders ride for my teams, Andrew DeLong and Nick Davis and a few other guys like that. And those guys do way more work than what I ever did when I raced. You know, it's just, we were fast back then and we were going good, but the speed that everybody's going, everybody's training now. So you have to train harder, longer, I mean, ride more bicycles, and it's just, these guys really, really work hard, and if they don't, they're not in the front. So the guys winning are working hard, everybody else isn't, and you can tell just by the tracks. Like today here later on, when we just see Walker Fowler come through these sections, he'll still be standing up and going forward, where other guys will be sitting on the seat and just trying to get through it. You know, you can see that Walker works hard all week long. Saturday right here today, this is his fun day. This is was most fun to him. This is his enjoyment for working hard all weekend.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, this is like even Steve Hatch. I don't know if you watched that Unadilla. Yep. Steve Hatch said in, and he said race day is the easiest day, the easiest part of your job. It's everything leading up to the race is what makes it so difficult.
And people think that, Walker Fowler, Chris Borich, or Landon Wolf, any of these guys just get on their quad on the weekends and ride. There's more to it. These guys work out every day. They put 8 to 10 hours a day in just for Saturdays.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, that's a lot, you would think, but like you say, I mean, if you're not doing it, somebody else is, and that's going to put you back in the shadows. And in a sport like this, you can't afford to get back there and hanging out in the shadows for very long, man, because you get lost.
Yeah, and you get forgotten. There's some young kid coming up that wants your job at every race, so you got to be doing the best you can do Monday through Friday for that race on Saturday. If not, that young kid will take it from you, and then you'll be working 9 to 5, and it doesn't pay that well.
It's not as much fun anyway.
Yeah, definitely not as much fun.
If you don't get a good, unless you get a really lucrative job, and I mean, I don't know. I'm one of those. I mean, I made my mind up years ago that I was going to be happy. I had a job that made me miserable, and I made my mind up that I'd never work another job that made me miserable, and that's why I'm out here watching races all the time.
Man, you watch these guys come through there, Ronnie. They just made it look so easy. Just pile that through there.
But look how much they have. I mean, body English, how much they are jerking around, how much the quad is moving around. I mean, that's taking its toll on body and machine out there.
Yeah, like you said, when they're bouncing around like that, you can see the rocks moving around with you. All it takes is to come down wrong on one of the big rocks right in your skid plate and have it hit your swing arm or your sprocket or your disc, and there you go. You're off for the race.
One of the things that's so much different nowadays than what we've known in years past, in GNCC especially, or the early days of it for these ATV riders, is flat tires. Flat tires is something you rarely hear anything about anymore due to tire blocks and balls and things like that folks are putting in the flat-proofing inflation systems that they put in have really changed, I think, the level of GNCC racing from an ATV standpoint. It's given these riders the confidence and the ability to be able to push harder in places they never could before. And that might be one of the reasons we're seeing these machines and these classes now reaching levels that we never saw them reach before because of the advancement of, well, the products. In particular, flat proofing, I think, has been a major part of that.
Yeah, for sure, Rodney. These guys can go faster through the rocks, not having to worry about getting flats. And also, even the guys that are just coming here to race each weekend are putting them in too, because you're spending so much money to get here, you can't afford to get a flat tire anymore. Yeah. And you pay a little bit extra and you're guaranteed not to get a flat. You're almost crazy not to get it done. And here comes Walker Fowler through that rock section, and he's just making it look easy. He's just cruising through there, thumbs up to the crowd, and that's when you know you're having fun. When you're playing with the crowd and they're yelling and screaming at you, you're just getting more pumped up and you're going faster and faster. And these other guys cannot afford for Walker Fowler to be this comfortable out there.
No, they sure cannot. As we watch now, we know 1 minute and 10 seconds was the last time we saw these guys are at the finish line. The gap between the first and second place position of Bryce and Neal. I didn't quite get a time on when Walker came through, but I'm going to assume that we're probably every bit of that and more at 1 minute and 10, probably pushing closer to the intensity. I mean, as smooth as Walker's making this racetrack look right now, he might be 1 minute 30 plus ahead of these guys because he's pushing it. But did you notice how effortless it looked that he was riding up through those rocks, even though he seemed to be moving pretty quick by comparison to the rest of these riders working their way through right now?
Yeah, Walker's carrying a little bit more speed and really making it look easy. Here comes Bryce and Neal coming through here right now.
He's pretty determined right now.
Yeah, he's not sitting down and giving up. He's still chasing after Walker Fowler the best he can, but one point we just heard from the radio too is you can notice he doesn't have any goggles on.
Now, let me ask you this. I know dust is a factor. Which is it harder to ride without goggles, dust or mud?
It's got to be the dust for sure, because the dust is constantly there. In the mud, you can duck your head, you can move, you can miss the mud flying at you, but the dust it's there all the time.
There is the 5-2-1, the McGill Mafia rolling hard in the number 3 spot now. Adam McGill, he's giving it a fist bump to the West Virginia crowd as well. Those guys are letting it loose down there and letting them know that they love him.
Yeah, Adam McGill, that's why he's a crowd favorite. He's always playing with them, no matter whether he's winning or whether he's in 10th place. He's the fans' kind of racer.
He most certainly is, and he's a very colorful individual on and off the microphone.
Yeah, you never know what he's going to say, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
There's Cole Richardson right there coming through.
Richardson checking in behind Chris Borch in 6th place at the end of lap number 2 there at the finish line. I don't know if he got around him when Chris was. Did Chris go through there a moment ago? I wasn't paying 100%.
I don't know, but I noticed when you were talking that Chris was in the pits when Coltrane left for fuel, so Chris should be behind him, or he may have caught past him.
Yeah, maybe we missed Chris going through
Yeah,
there. What did that sign say on that tree? I don't know.
Don't hit me.
half of it's gone, but anyway, somebody, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
It's probably a good thing then. So Fowler is due in. We are less than 10 minutes out right now. I think 6 minutes we'll probably see Walker in.
There's Chris Borch right now.
There, so it looks like that Coltrane did get around him. So Chris has found some problems in the rocks out here. You know, he did that in a rocky New York race there a few weeks ago. Had a get-off and actually went down pretty hard, broke a clutch, and the lever completely off, so he had his work cut out for him. Hey, there's the dog. Now, there's one of, I bet he's going to be, or she is going to be in our contest, our dog show tonight. The GNCC Kennel Club is hosting the first annual Mowgli Memorial Dog Show, and we're going to have a dog show tonight. Mowgli was a little puppy that got killed at Snowshoe in some unforeseen circumstances where a big dog, he went sniffing around where he was supposed to be, and the big dog was just happened to be right at the end of his chain. Well, anyway, we're going to do a dog show in Mowgli's honor tonight, and lots of folks bringing out the dogs for the GNCC Kennel Club tonight. We're going to be doing it on the starting line. We'll have some highlights for that coming up tomorrow, so make sure you tune in to watch the two-wheelers if you're going to be around.
You can see the different colors in the rocks right here. These ones all here got dust and dirt all on them. When they start to come in, they're really not on the gas. They're coming in them rocks fast, and they're kind of floating over them rocks there in the center. And then when they get off that, when they start to corner, then they're getting on the gas again, and it's pushing that dirt back up on the rocks. So you're almost kind of gliding through those center spot.
Yeah, and you got and speed is, I mean, keeping that speed up is key. Yeah, is key to it all right there. I believe that is the case, and I believe that if you talk to our youth ATV winner this morning, there's LW, by the way, a former youth racer, and coming off his best ride, having some issues today it looks like, but anyway, as we were saying, you know, talking about the youth riders this morning, man, they had their work cut out for them. Boy, did they put on a great battle. Mikey Nichols was able to pull it off in the end, but believe me, it wasn't an easy task.
Hello, everybody. We're here with our 10 o'clock race winner, Cody Miller. Cody, unbelievable conditions out there today. A tough one, man. Ask you where you were able to get it done, and you said right out there in those fields. Getting on the back of that seat and riding with faith, man?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I had to basically run right in Brian Buchanan's wake. You know, if I'd get more than a second behind him, the dust would close up the gap, and I had to, you know, be really cautious because there's some pretty big dips out there that will throw you right off the front of this thing. And you know, the Elka shocks were really working good. They were soaking everything up. The Maxxis tires were pulling hard out of the corner. There's some big rocks out there, and I was bashing my DWT wheels right off of them. And the Can-Am Outlander held up strong the whole time. You know, the Gates belts were pulling hard out there. And oh man, it's the tire balls. If it weren't for tire balls, I definitely would have had some flats out there. And I tell you what, it was a really hard race. I came out of the whole shots in second or third place, and Brian Buchanan was out front. He was blistering fast today. We would get out in the field sections, and you know that's generally where I'm able to make up ground and pull people. But he was on the gas hard, and eventually we came back around to lap riders, and that kind of closed us up and made us a little tighter. And then I was finally able to capitalize over here in one of these field sections. You know, I also want to congratulate Kevin Cunningham and Brian Buchanan. These guys rode really hard today. They were really stiff competition, and not only that, they're really good friends of mine. So I'm really happy to put all of us up here.
Well, Cody, congratulations on a big win. Now back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks a lot, Megawatt. So I guess that wasn't the youth feature. That was the 4x4 pros. They too had their hands full at 10 o'clock this morning, as we heard Cody talking about there just a few moments ago. We were talking with Dom from the program, who's been with the ATV motocross platform for the last couple of years. Well, Cody actually comes from the ATV MX side of things, and man, he is making some major waves, not only in 4x4 pro class, but also as a top UTV racer. And next weekend when we head to Ohio to Powerline Park, he gets to climb back in the driver's seat of one of those, and race 4x4 pro in the morning and UTVs in the afternoon.
Double duty.
Yeah. And, wouldn't that be wild to see him win a double championship or come close? I know it's going to be tight up there. That 4x4 pro class is really, really tough right now.
It's crazy. He comes from the motocross part of it, and their bikes are nice and light, and he gets on the UTV, gets on a utility quad to race one here, and those things are heavy and four-wheel drive, and, man, you've got to be in shape to ride one of those things as fast as these guys go, because they got all that power and four wheels of pulling. And
yeah. Exactly, and man, I mean, he's adapted to it quite well, there's no doubt. I guess racing's for a lot of guys, no doubt. Hey, right now we are less than a minute away from seeing Walker scheduled to come in for a third lap complete out here. We are right now an hour and about 15 minutes into this race, so lap 3, I don't know if we're going to be going 4 or 5 laps today. There's Walker Fowler right now. This is about the 10.5 mile marker, so he's a little further back than 30 seconds. So he must have slowed down this lap if my timing and scoring is right here, and that's, you got to wonder, is he starting to catch some lap traffic? Yeah. Is he just starting to chill out because he's got such a monumental lead?
Yeah, Rodney, you're right. In this race like this with the 10-mile loop, so many different things could happen. He could have caught this slower lapper right here and held him up for 10 or 15 seconds, and he could have spun out a little, or could have had a little trouble. But he's got such a big cushion right now. Even if those situations did happen, he's still not going to be in any kind of panic mode. He knows he's got a big lead. He's just going to sit back, and he's not going to push the issue on anything trying to get by these lappers for sure, because he knows he's got a big points lead. Let alone he's got a big lead here on time too, and he wants to get as many points as he can at each event, these last 3.
For sure, and this guy right here trying to close up that gap now is Bryson Neal. Man, Neal, I know he seemed a little down on himself this morning when I talked to him before the race, and he was used to being up on the podium and being a challenger, quite possibly for a win, leading every once in a while, and when he finishes off the podium, which he's done the last couple of rounds, man, it's like somebody did something to his Wheaties in the morning, man. I mean, he ain't a bit happy about it. He seems a little downhearted about it, but he's got to be pretty stoked about the ride that he's putting forth right now, I think, though.
Yeah, even though Bryson's not been on the podium last few races, still look at the competition he's riding against. These guys aren't slouches, so if you can just get up there in the top 5 each race, you're doing great. And here's Walker Fowler coming to the finish line right now, and Bryson Neal. Wow,
a 25:44 lap time last time around, a 26:21, so he did slow down quite a bit.
Yeah, and this is where Bryson Neal's pit crew should be able to give Walker Fowler a sign saying, Bryson Neal's pit crew should give him a sign saying, hey, you're catching Walker, or Walker's still pulling away from you, to let him know where his pace is sitting at, Rodney.
2-lap card is out, so that does translate into a 5-lap race. That's where we were kind of hinging. I knew it was going to be falling kind of close, so obviously the mathematical equations tell us that we got to go 5 instead of 4 today, and that's what we're going to be doing as Walker Fowler continues to lead.
It looks like Walker's pointing down his bike right now.
That might be why he lost a minute something. And this is one thing that he talked about, was the possibility of
his
some
tires are all
issue.
full. He thought maybe he had a flat, but they're not flat. They look good, and it looks like they're going straight.
Wow, I wonder what was going on there. Then that's rather intriguing. What did he say? What did he do? Because he pointed down, he tapped it, and then he took off.
Yeah, I almost thought he was pointing at the gas tank when he was coming down. We just kind of glimpsed him there on the right part of the screen. I thought he was pointing at the tank, and then when he came in, like you said, Rodney, he turned around, went to the left rear wheel. Whether he's having a brake caliper, he could have been a caliper or something catching up, or the sprocket could be bent and it's making noise. And
it could be, there's a number of things. Maybe the Nerf bar is getting ready to fall off or something like that, and that they might meet him up at another portion of the racetrack to try to rectify that. But here we go, rolling into the finish line region right now. We'll see if that 26:21 lap time is going to do much good there. 26:04, so Bryson Neal does close up the gap. We're now 52.5 seconds, so man, if Walker does have to have something done to that machine, he better hope it gets done in less than a minute, because if he don't, the young gun Bryson Neal's going to be there, and I think if Bryson gets up front, he's going to be tough to pass.
Oh, for sure he is. Looks like Bryson Neal just stopped that last. I don't think he stopped the last lap for gas. I think he just now stopped for fuel. So if he did, that would give Walker a little bit more of a cushion right now over Bryson Neal. But Bryson Neal's mechanics are probably telling him when he pulled in, hey, you're catching Walker, and that's all he needs to hear to keep his momentum going, Rodney.
It most certainly is, and right now as we look, we see that Adam McGill is checked in. He's 44 seconds back of Neal now. Another 14 seconds back. In fourth place is Jared McClure, the Cobra. And 14 more seconds back is Cole Richardson, old Coal Train. Chris Borch still not checked in the sixth place position. I'm kind of shocked and surprised that he's struggling today. This must be something, he must have gone down, or he must be having something mechanical going on there, because this is a far cry from the way Chris Borch has ever ridden in these kind of conditions and at this racetrack.
And Adam McGill just stopped in the pits too also, Rodney, for gas, and Cole Richardson has gotten around Jared McClure, and Cole Richardson was only about 3 or 4 seconds behind Adam McGill as they exited the pits. So we've got a race right now for third and fourth place with Adam McGill and Cole Richardson.
Wow. Time behind Jared McClure, behind Cole Richardson, .006. We didn't see them going through the finish line, but I think that pass was made right there, going in right there in that last turn. So Coal Train trying to get the thing moving and rolling as they headed into lap number 3. Now, with the rest of the field being at a 2-lap point, let's go ahead and take a look at the halfway point of this race, the midway report, if you will. Overall, no changes. Fowler, Neal, McGill, Richardson, McClure. That's after 3, and Chris Borch checks in 6th after 3. But then we got Greg Covert in 7th. This is only after 2, so they're still due in. Josh Merritt, Cody Collier, who is 2nd place now in the XC2 Pro-Am, and Randy Hamilton, who's 3rd, rounds out your top 10. Now let's go class by class breakdown for you. After 2 laps of racing, Greg Covert, Cody Collier, Randy Hamilton. As we told you, then it's Matthew Lindell in 4th, and Wesley Wolf rounds out the top 5. As we check in with the College A 16 to 21-year-old Devin Fehan, the rider number 33 out of Windsor, New York, holding on to the lead there with the 9:26 Tanner Walk out of Berlin, PA in 2nd. 2:17 Drew Landers, Monterey, Tennessee in 3rd. Then it's Brandon Eichert out of Hickory, North Carolina, the 4:41 in 4th. And 4:98 Braden Schick out of Cranberry, PA, rounds out your top 5. Now, Tanner Walker out of the home of, what is that, Snyder's of Berlin potato chips? Yeah, that's where they make the Snyder's chips up there. I go by there every time. When we used to go up there to Mountain Ridge, I go by there all the time, so I love that place. But anyway, Junior A 22-plus class, we're looking at the 5:33 of Jeff Miller out of Summersville, West Virginia, a former old stomping ground and stomping place for GNCC many years ago. 31 seconds back behind him is Stevie Covert, the 29 in 2nd. Nick Mastrangelo, the 77, is 3rd out of Newcastle, PA. Then all the way from Southwick, Massachusetts there, Matthew King, the 44, in 4th. Josh Konachek, the 936 out of Avella, PA, rounds out the top 5. Checking in next with the Bet A 28-plus class, A.J. Kuntz, also known as Tom Kuntz. The number 30 out of Fayetteville, PA, is your leader. Dustin Hendershot out of Washington, West Virginia, only 1.2 seconds back after 2 laps, and 8:06 car or machine is what it is. And actually, Hendershot may be pressuring Kuntz for the lead because he turned about a 12-second, 13-second faster lap time. There we see Joey Margaria, the 788 in 3rd. He's out of Avella, PA. Brian Shaw, the 828 out of Harrisville in PA, is 4th. And Todd Muscale out of Uniontown, PA, the Marlboro man, rounds out your top 5. Rusty Repass, the 704 out of Mooresville, North Carolina, in front of Mark Batson, the 636, by about 58 seconds. Now, if he was to lose a minute, you know what he'd have to do in order to win, don't you, Fred? He'd have to repass. I'm sorry. That was just too easy. Rusty Repass, Mark Batson, then Andy Cooper, the 771 out of Dry Fork, West Virginia. 4th place, the 997, Donnie Masters out of Morgantown, West Virginia. That's the senior AB 38-plus class. That'll also let you know how many folks were actually paying attention right there. We go next to College B, 16-21. Michael Anderson, 357 of Cloverdale, Indiana, 1.6 second lead over Joey Lambright, the 225 out of East Palestine, Ohio. Milton, PA is home for third place ride in the College B class, the 805 of Corey Vandeliner. Then Chandler Byrne, the 540, is fourth out of Bellington, West Virginia, the 232 Morgan Flannery out of Mercerburg, PA, rounds out your top 5 College B class riders. Up next, Junior B. These are 22-plus class with Ryan Bovis out front of Jake Callahan, only 6.7 seconds. Brian Felicki, the 61 and third out of Poland, Ohio. Evan Soda out of Perkiomonville, PA, is the 404th, and David Kite, the 321 of Northeast Maryland. That's your 5th place ride in the Junior B class. Now we go to the Vet B class. Corey Blinky Wicks out of Elwood City, PA, the 402, 6.4 seconds ahead of Dale Batson, another one of those media all-star riders. The 671 is out of Ida, Michigan. 410 John South out of Warwick, Rhode Island, with the 4th place ride at 352 of Rocky Anderson from Greenburg, PA. Imperial, Missouri, Philip Thayer, the 102, rounds out the top 5 Vet B 30-plus class. And that is your midway report here, just past midway juncture of this Mountaineer Run GNCC. It's all brought to you by your good friends there, Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready. Also, want to welcome out Paul Bowerly from the headquarters of AMSOIL out here with us. Big smile on his face. We had a chance to talk with him prior to the start of the race. It wasn't real in-depth, but he is stoked to be here and really happy to be a part of things here this weekend, with all things considered, this being in the basic backyard of the home office there.
You know what, I was just watching the screen as they were going by, and Bryson Neal went by, and I was counting in my head. I think it was almost a minute again, so I think maybe Walker Fowler may have stretched the lead back out for a little bit, but also I got to take into consideration that Bryson Neal stopped for fuel that time, so that's about 8 seconds there, so it looks like maybe they were staying the same.
There you go. Good observations, to be honest with you, Fred, and we will watch that a little closer, and we will get to the bottom of whether or not that is starting to tighten up. But, you know, it could be, it could have been tightening up and now stretching back up, just like you said, and we see that happen a lot of times. So Fowler, Neal, McGill. Again, this is, and I'm going to say it, I hate to, but this has been a rather unentertaining race to watch as far as from a standpoint of good battling. It's been entertaining in the fact that, you know, it's had some good shots, it's had some good riding and things like that by riders, but yeah, I mean, these guys, this is not your traditional GNCC ATV race, man, and we've been seeing that as of late. It's almost getting like, well, like some of the old two-wheel races that we used to watch happen there, Fred. And, you know, I myself as a race fan, gotta say I like it better when they're nose to tail, but Walker Fowler or anybody who wins wants to be able to do it by miles so they can do it more easily.
Yeah, you know, when you're out there in the lead, your confidence and the pressure, if there's nobody behind you, you can't hear anybody, you can't see anybody, there's no pressure on you. When you got somebody right on your wheels, you know, there's a lot of pressure on you, and that works against your thinking and your mental game, so it's always easier to have a big cushion, you're right. But for racing-wise, we've had great racing here. We've got a lot of good guys that could win at any time. We've got, you know, Walker may be out ahead, but there's still a lot of racing going on.
And even like Walker said in his pre-race interview, he was talking about, hey, he hasn't had a bad race in a couple of years, and he knows Adam had a bad race last time, and he says, who's to say that mechanical issues won't jump up and haunt him? You know, he says he comes in here as best prepared as he possibly can, but there are some unknown circumstances and variables that sometimes play into the hand that you may not be able to overcome. So Walker actually coming into this one with the mindset that he wanted to win. That's what he was setting out to do, but if he didn't, it wouldn't be that big a deal because he's got championship on the mind. Well, he's that much closer to the championship. He's about a lap and we'll call it 15 and a half minutes, as a matter of fact, as we'll see whether or not he's able to make that happen, whether Bryson Neal can close that gap up. Can Adam McGill get the wheels rolling there? And what's going to happen with the rest of the pack? Find out when we return on RacerTV.com.
The Andersons discovered life is easier with an Outlaw RV. The Outlaw is a complete home on wheels with a multifunctional garage. Getting on the road has never been quicker. The Outlaw is made to fit the lifestyle of today's active families. So stop roughing it and start enjoying your weekends. Find the Thor Motor Coach Outlaw that fits your needs at GarageRVs.com today.
You smell it, you feel it, you can taste it in the air. Speed, man. Full wide open. Blast. I didn't really like high school too much. Too booky, too take notes, learn this, and that's it. Got WildTech. They have full-size motorcycles. The feeling of taking them apart every day, putting them back together. You can't explain it. Everything I learned applies to now. Seeing your motorcycle that you put together right around the track at 180 miles an hour, oh, definitely rewarding. My name's Mike. My school's WildTech.
Get on the fast track to a career. Turn pro at WildTech.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here as PD84 PA. That's what that sign says. So somebody's out there for PD. Hey, if you have your PD out there that you want to see up on the podium, tweet your predictions, your podium finish predictions to hashtag GNCC Live for a chance to win $250 in AMSOIL product. The winner will be chosen randomly, and again, you don't have to have it right. You just have to get it in. Hashtag GNCC Live, and thanks to AMSOIL, $250 in AMSOIL product could be yours. Who do you think it's going to be, Fred? I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Fowler, Neal, and McGill.
Okay, I'm going to go with Fowler, McGill, and Richardson. I think the Coltrane's going to put it together and put it on the box. We're going to have AmPro Yamahas 1 and 3.
Well, as you say that, I look down here. There's a 14.5-second gap, and there is about a 10 or 11-second faster lap that Cole Richardson had turned at least the last time around on Adam McGill. So that gap is really starting to close up. And, hey, very good point and good observation. So you're going Fowler, Neal, Richardson. I'm going Fowler, Neal, McGill. We'll see. Can we win $250 in AMSOIL product? It doesn't matter if we're right or wrong because we just gotta play. Gotta play
and be the lucky one we pick. And another thing too, Cole Richardson can see Adam McGill right now, so he can see him. So it's easier to catch him now that he can see him. And Adam McGill maybe going to start to feel some pressure of Cole Richardson on him. And you know, Adam doesn't seem like he's on his game as much as he was at Snowshoe for sure. Doesn't seem like he's making any time on Bryson Neal. But we've also got a feature coming up here on, I forget who she said. On Chris Borge.
That's right.
Let's see what Chris Borge has to say.
To be honest, I just didn't, me and the bike didn't get along, so it was just a rough year, and like I said, I didn't have fun. But this year, back to having fun, back to on a bike that I'm familiar with, and getting good results. Not where I want to be, but it was a change for me. So now we're just trying to get the thing back to where I like it and getting me comfortable again. So it's all a work in progress. So hopefully this weekend we can turn it around. He's good at the beginning of the races, and he just sets a good pace and holds it wide open. And obviously the races that we were able to hang with him, he couldn't get away from us. So I don't know what he does or how he does it, but if he can gap us and get away from us, you can't see him. But if we can hook right onto him and stay with him, he's there the whole race with us. I think that's a big thing, just letting her eat the whole first lap and getting rid of the arm pump and then just staying with him and trying to battle him right to the end.
You know, and Chris Borge brought up a great point right there. When he's with Walker Fowler, he can stay with him because it's easier to follow somebody than it is to lead. But if Walker Fowler gets that lead like he has and Chris can't follow his lines and key off of him, he can't stay with him. It seems like Walker Fowler gets away from him. So
yeah, and you know, it's tough, man. Obviously, I mean, like Chris said, he don't know what Walker's doing out there, but whatever it's doing, it's working. And they need to find that same flow, that same magic.
Yeah, Chris knows he has a speed to run with Walker if he can see him, but if he can't see him, he doesn't have that extra oomph or extra flow or something to stay with him.
Okay, that's what now that brings up a pretty good question, Fred. And you being a racer, you might be able to answer this. Is Walker making his way through this section now? Going by the 84 PD sign. There you go. But I guess, you know, how do you overcome those obstacles like that? I mean, if you think about it, okay, you know you can ride that fast if you're with them. How come you don't know you can ride that fast when you're not with them?
Because when you're by yourself, Rodney, you don't know how fast you're really going. You think you're going fast, but you may not be going that fast. When he's following Walker Fowler, he's not thinking about fast. He's just thinking about sticking with Walker. He doesn't realize how fast he's really going. You know, it's hard when you're by yourself to make yourself push to right on that edge because you're thinking about that edge. Well, if Walker's riding that edge, and Chris may not be comfortable on that edge, but if he's right behind Walker, he doesn't even know he's going that fast.
Wow, that's interesting. You know, you'd think, I guess this is much mental as it is physical out there, so that does make a little bit of sense. Oh, my. That right there, wrong line choice. Boy, he got lucky. He just stalled it out just a little bit, but that could have cost him some time getting caught up against that tree right there.
And right now, Rodney, it's been a minute since Walker Fowler went by. It was 38:07 when Walker went through down here, so we're 39:15. So Walker is putting a little bit of time on Bryce Neal right now.
And that's kind of what we had anticipated. We see some Coastal team members down there right now, and they're pointing. So that is...
They're pointing a lapper to go around that way because, you know, Bryson could be coming to make sure Bryson has the faster line. And right there goes Bryson through the middle of him, passing that lapper, which worked out good. The lapper went around, and Bryson got right through there.
There you go. So Bryson Neal, second place at a minute, probably closer to a minute 20, minute and a half now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that could translate into the fact that maybe Bryson found some issues out there and ran into that lap traffic in a tight section you were talking about.
Looks like Cole Richardson right here. Looks like Cole may even be catching up on Bryson Neal.
Yeah, that is Cole. He has gotten around Adam McGill, has he not?
Yeah, unless we missed Adam McGill, so we're going to have to keep an eye out here, see if we see Adam McGill coming through this rock garden.
Well, we'll see whether or not he's letting it eat, as he says.
Wow, if he did, Adam McGill must have maybe run into some trouble. We haven't seen him yet, and I'm not sure if that's Jared McClure or if it's Adam McGill. I think that's Jared McClure right there. So
he does have the Intimidator out today, doesn't he? The black machine. That's what he was calling it this morning. He was trying to intimidate those guys. There's
McGill. So
he lost 2 spots.
Yep. So Cole Richardson
he's third, and Adam McGill's now dropped back to the number 5 spot. So tough break there for him, and not too big, great wins in almost heaven, West Virginia here this year, I don't think, at least unless something happens. I mean, we are a little more than a lap and call it just over 7 minutes before we expect to see a checker flag for Walker Fowler, who is, opened up a monstrous lead. If our calculations are right, we're somewhere in the neighborhood of a minute 20, minute 30 gap between he and Bryson Neal. We'll know here in just a few moments as these guys will be checking in at the finish line. Near 11-mile race course is what these riders are having to traverse today. And Brett, I got to tell you, man, that looks like a very difficult 11 miles. If you've got to ride, if half of it is half as gnarly as that right there, that's got to be so tough on a person.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of people sleeping good tonight when they get home. No doubt about that. And it makes a little bit of sense too, Ron, if you're looking at the timing and scoring, that Walker Fowler's put some more time on Bryson Neal, and Bryson Neal's lost some time because Cole Richardson was at least 40-some seconds, so maybe 50 seconds behind Bryson Neal coming to the finish last time. And going through the woods, the last section, coming through that rock garden right there, looked like he was only maybe 15 or 20. So Bryson Neal maybe has run into a little bit of a problem.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see just exactly how big that gap is now, and maybe I get a chance to talk to Bryson after the race if he's on the podium. And I know that's where he wants to be. That's what his goal is today. And man, if he rode this solid and this strong and came up short of the podium today, I know it'd be a heartbreaker, and it would certainly set a different tone, I would believe, for the rest of the 2016 season.
Yep, I think it's about time for a commercial break, Rodney, and we'll be back.
As riders and racers, we understand the need to get quality parts, apparel, and accessories fast. We have the horsepower of multiple warehouses to make sure your gear, OEM parts, or accessories make it to your door quickly. Check out our easy-to-use website and experience customer service that takes the whole shot. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here at Marvin's Mountain and the Mountaineer Run GNCC as Walker Fowler is dominating the mountain here today. There's no doubt about it. Who's king of the mountain this year? Well, it's obviously Walker Fowler. Bryce Neal back in second. We're estimating a minute plus now, as last time through he was 52 seconds, a minute 10 the time before that. So it's kind of a seesaw battle going on there. Adam McGill has dropped out of third to at least a fifth place position as Cole Richardson. The Coal Train rolls into third now, and the Cobra, Jared McClure, is fourth, as we said. We see Adam McGill now back in the number 5 positions. Leaders due in any time within the next 3.5 minutes or so. So in about 3.5 minutes, we should see Walker Fowler checking in. His lap time 26:21, and I think that's a little bit faster than it was the lap before that. I think it was a 26:44, maybe it was a 25:44, and these laps are all slowing down as the day progresses. But even with that, still a 5-lap race, Fred, and here we come into that with the rocks obviously being as gnarly as what they are. 5 laps versus 4 laps. Timing's not any different, but the mentality of it is, because you're going an extra lap in your mind, I guess, over these rocks.
Well, right now, when I race, when I would come through and thinking, man, it's got to be 2 laps. It's got to be 2 laps. And you don't see it, and you're like, oh, I got 3 laps, So it is a mind thing. I mean, it may be same on time, but you're always looking for that sign. When you don't see it and you think you should, it just wrecks you if you're not in shape and you're not ready for it. Walker Fowler's going to come through. He's going to not see it, and no big deal to him. But, for everybody else, it's going to mean something. And right now, Cole Richardson is going to be happy if it's another lap, because he's hoping to get up with Bryson Neal to battle for that second position.
That's an interesting point right there. I mean, while some riders may be hoping for the race to be over, there are those that are actually get stronger, make up ground at the end of the race. So the longer the race goes for them, the better off it is, I guess.
Yeah, because Cole Richardson, he's come from the back. He's passing guys little by little. He's keeping his momentum going forward. And now if he can see Bryson Neal, that momentum's still carrying him forward, or Bryson Neal's going, oh no, this guy's coming. So it can work against you both ways. Here's Walker Fowler coming by on our split screen right now, coming through the woods into the open section. And where he's coming to now, Rodney, is some big open fields, and we go halfway up like a big ski mountain kind of on some nice flat grass, and it's got a big horseshoe that comes back down. So they've really done a really cool job of making some big sweeping corners and uphills and downhills with some off-cameras leading back into the pit area.
Well, Fowler due in about a minute or so, looking at this right now. Neal, again, Richardson, McClure, and Borch, and the boys all making their way around right now. One thing to point out here, we talked about the Vet A class having the lead in the top amateur ranks today. Well, it looks like Devin Fehan has moved into a 12th place overall, the 33. He's out of Windsor, New York, college age 16 to 21-year-old class leader right now, and he's on his way to, I think, claiming some pretty big honors for today here in West Virginia.
Well, as you can see, Walker Fowler's coming to the finish line right here, and you can see in the background there were some of the big nice uphills and downhills and off cameras that we had leading to the finish line. And I believe Walker Fowler's coming to the white flag right now.
I believe, let's see, this would be the end of lap 4, white flag.
He's hanging, you can see he's hugging that tree real tight, and he's looking good. He's not looking down at the bike anymore. And he's coming around right now to the finish line, getting the white flag.
Yep, white flag.
So we're going to be able to get a split time on to see.
26:21 was the lap time before. This time around for Walker Fowler, 25:55. So he actually picked it up.
Yeah. So whatever that noise was he's hearing, if it was a bent sprocket or bent something, it's wore through whatever it was rubbing. It's not making that noise anymore, because he's definitely going faster.
Yeah, and maybe for whatever reason they took just a second to fix and rectify whatever it was. I don't know. And he got back on the gas, because he certainly made it obvious to us visually on the gap between first and second that he was either picking up speed or Bryson Neal was slowed down. And I was banking on Fowler picking up speed, to be honest with you, and that's exactly what has happened right now, as we still wait with bated breath to see who our second place, and if second place is still going to be able to hold within a minute or so there. Bryson Neal, the number 5 machine, and I'm thinking right now that we're already past that minute time.
And I'm only guessing, Rodney, but one of the split screens right there, I saw Cole Richardson, but I did not see Bryson Neal, so I'm not sure if Cole did get by him or not, or if we just missed him on the screen. But they should be coming through that grassy section, them up in the downhills before the finish line right now, so we should know here shortly.
We got an eye on that out there, watching that. I'm watching timing and scoring right now, and that's starting to really make a lot of sense, Fred Andrews. There's McGill making his way through down there on the right side of your screen. McGill dropping back to about 7th place, I believe. No, McGill. Actually, he's back up to 3rd. I'm sorry. Or was up to 3rd. He dropped back to 5th. He dropped back to 5th. So.
Yeah, Adam still has a whole open grass section to come to before the finish line, and Cole Richardson's already come through this split screen here on the right. I saw him, but we're just, man, Walker Fowler's just stretched that way out.
Wow, it's been probably close to 2 minutes now. We have not seen the second place rider check in yet, and is it Bryson Neal? If it's not, then wow, how much time is Cole Richardson going to be able to make up out there on the 7:33? And this is a pretty amazing ride for him, because he's coming into this with again with that C diff that he reacquired over the summer, and only a couple of weeks or less than a couple of weeks on medication. It's already starting to pay off for him.
I think maybe we missed him, because it seems like somebody should have come through by now, Rodney. Here comes Cole Richardson right now, coming down to pro row. So that would be Cole Richardson coming by right now. Looks like he may be in 2nd place.
Yes, sir. I think that he is. And with that, let's update. Cole Richardson is 2nd. Jerry McClure has turned into 3rd, 2 minutes and 8 seconds. And a lot of folks are like, you're talking about Walker Fowler an awful lot. Well, there's a reason. He's blowing the doors off of everybody right now. And we're trying to get it all into perspective right here. But, yeah, granted, we want to
something's happened to Bryson Neal then.
Yeah, something happened to Bryson Neal. And also looking at the XC2 Pro-Am class, it looks like our leads have changed there quite a bit as well, because Cody Collier has actually taken over the lead. Randy Hamilton was out in front of that one for a little while. We also saw, who was our, Greg Covert was leading that one too last time around, your point leader in that class. And I want to check in with that XC2 Pro-Am class that hopefully we'll be able to get maybe on the podium on TV today, since we like to watch these guys so much. But it's Collier, Hamilton, Wesley, Wolf, and no sign of Marty Christopherson, who's basically a championship contender, 2nd place in points right now. Greg Covert, who has even finished up his 3rd lap, yet still with 2 laps down. He was in the lead last time he came through. So Covert either A, got missed, or B, is out of this one. And I'll tell you, this is the kind of break that Marty Christopherson was looking for, but he needed to be up front to be able to capitalize on it much, and in 8th place right now. He's going to gain some ground if that's the case, but not as much as he could if he was contending for podiums today in that XC2 Pro-Am class. So Cody Collier, Randy Hamilton, Wesley Wolf, a few names that we really haven't had a whole lot of chance to talk about so far in 2016, but even they've got 1 minute and 43 seconds between 1st and 2nd place, and another 48 seconds back to the number 3 spot. So this whole idea of that this pace was going to be slower, Fred Andrews, it's completely out the window. These guys might have thought that's what the case was going to be, but it's not. This has probably been one of the bigger blowouts that I've seen in recent history of GNCC.
Yeah, I think Walker Fowler came here, and like I said earlier, his bike's working good. He's really on a high from doing so good all year long. He's been working hard, and everything's going perfect for him right now. It's just so easy for him to go that fast, and his Yamaha's working good. Mark Notman and the crew got it going good, that he's having no troubles out there. With the other guys, they're having a little bit of troubles here and there, but still, you got Cole Richardson on an AmPro Yamaha in 2nd place. He may be 2 minutes down, but that pack from 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, those guys are still all racing for that 2nd place position, so it's not like we got a runaway everywhere. Walker Fowler's got a little bit on him right now, but there's still good racing going on from 2nd through 5th place.
Yeah, and looking back a little into some of these other classes, again, we were talking about top amateurs, and we saw that we had the Bet A riders. Jeff Pickens was one of the top riders out there, non-pro or Pro-Am class riders, and then we saw Hunter Hart, who was leading the College A 16 to 21-year-old class. He was in a top 15 or so overall position. He was looking pretty strong, or at least top 20 overall position. He was looking strong for that top amateur award today himself, but he never completed lap 2. He only came through, and after 1 lap, he's now dropped to 15th place in the College A 16 to 21-year-old class. So that's a big change, and that's something that we never expected to see, and that's going to give Devin Fehan, the 33 in that class out of Windsor, New York, the opportunity to move forward and stretch things out to 47.5 seconds over Tanner Walker and Brandon Eichert. Braden Schick's also back there in fourth. And Braden, I got to tell you, not having the year that I was expecting that 498 machine to have, something told me that he had a lot more in store for us here in 2016, but that's not the case. And there's Walker Fowler, the big trail of dust leading up behind him right now, Fred Andrews.
You know, Walker Fowler's just going through the motions right now, right in this on the second part of the track. I'm sure Mark Notman and crew ran across the track over here and showed him, hey, you got 2+ minutes on everybody else. Just don't do anything crazy. Keep doing what you're doing and watch out for, the big rocks and stuff. And this will be another win for Walker Fowler here.
It sure will. And Fowler, I tell you, stealing the show here today. There's no doubt about that, as he has been the main topic of conversation, but there's a lot of folks that are hoping to rouse him out of that topic, that's for sure. So again, I'm going to go back up and look at these overalls and see where we're sitting at right now. This would be after, I'm assuming, 4 laps complete. Fowler, Richardson, McClure, 1, 2, and 3. McGill's dropped to 4th place as Chris Boards dropped behind him. Now, here's something interesting. 2 minutes, 58 seconds between Adam McGill and Chris Borch. That's 4th and 5th place. What could have happened out there that would have caused something like that to that big of a monumental gap? And I don't know where Megawatt is, but hopefully he can get over there and get some words for us over in the pro pits here and try to find out what's going on there, because, man, I mean, that's not a very promising thing as far as Chris Borch when you see that he loses 3 minutes. I hope it wasn't. Here's the thing. I hope it was more mechanical than anything and not physical is what I'm trying to say.
Well, Ronnie, too, Chris could have made this out for today and it could be totally off, and Chris doesn't want to get hurt when his bike's not working right. He doesn't want to push the issue and try to make something happen when he's not confident with the bike or himself. So, Chris is a past champion. He knows what it takes to be a champion. He knows that if he got hurt this weekend or did something crazy, he wouldn't be there for next week. So he'll just go home after this weekend and try to fix whatever the problem is that he's having now and get ready for Ohio.
There you go. Speaking of Ohio, one of Ohio's riders, a Wolf Racing rider himself, the one-man wolf pack of Brian Wolf, getting out here and getting on fire. He was he wasn't on fire literally, but he was rolling, man. I mean, he had some great things going, and we've seen him ride like that before, and it's all paid huge dividends for him at like Snowshoe, where he's gotten a win or two, a couple of wins, if memory serves me correct, over the years. And, he was trying to attack the West Virginia mountainside like that again here at Marvin's Mountaintop. It was paying huge dividends that first lap and a half or so, but didn't take long before we saw him starting to fade back. He's back about 9th place in class right now, if I'm not mistaken, Fred.
Yeah, and it's hard for a guy like Brian Wolf to come into GNCC racing when Walker Fowler, Chris Borch, Bryson Neal, and Jared McClure. And these guys have been doing it all year long, racing at these speeds. Sure, Brian Wolf's been racing local races at home, but the pace is not the same. When you step into this, these guys are going a lot faster, and it's hard to race with these guys if you're not racing with them every weekend.
That's for sure, and I know Brian. He's a family man. You saw in opening ceremonies, his kids was riding on the quad with him right there to the starting line. So he's got, his priorities are all about the family. This is just
fun,
and that's all it is.
And he likes being part of the GNCC family. He likes coming to see all his friends that he's made throughout the years, and he's here to race, but he's here to have a good time and say hi to everybody.
He's still got a lot of race fans, a lot of fans that still love to check in on Brian whenever he makes it out to the track. And I don't know, did you hear the crowd out there whenever we introduced him? He was the last rider, and I think there was a couple of guys that got some pretty loud jeers and cheers, but he was one of them, man. I think he's a crowd favorite here today, even though he's struggling a little after that.
Yeah, Brian still. Everybody remembers Brian Wolf, and he's a great rider. And all the riders have fans all over the places, and West Virginia happens to like him a little bit better since he's won at Snowshoe a few times. And I think it's time for a commercial break. Rodney, we'll be back with y'all here in a minute. We'll see if Walker Fowler can close the deal and get the checkered flag.
Maxxis Tires.
Here at Rocky Mountain ATV MC, our goal has always been to get you the best price and provide quality service. Now, we're giving you one more reason to shop with Rocky Mountain. We call it Quick Cash. It's simple to get. Just place an order with a qualifying quick cash item and get cash to spend on your next order. Try it out today. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live from Marvin's Mountaintop, I should say, here in Masontown, West Virginia. Rodney Tomlin along with Fred Andrews and also Megawatt Matt Watson still getting ready for podium presentations and things like that. Still no word on what's going on with Chris Borch. Hopefully get an update from Megawatt here pretty soon on that. But Fowler continues to lead with Richardson closing in. He's moved up to second. I'm not going to say he's closing in. 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Let's look at lap times here and see just exactly what the difference in that is. A 25:55 for Fowler last time, 26:12, 26:32 for McClure. Richardson had the 26:12, so you can see that the pace is still very blistering up front from our front runners out here. And after 4 laps, we've had several more riders check in with 4 laps complete. We still haven't had, yes we have, Devin Feehan has checked in now out of the College A class with 4 laps complete. He is all the way up to a 9th place position. That's pretty impressive, Fred.
That's really impressive, Rodney. On a day like today with those rocks, you know, we're talking about how gnarly and how rough this track is. And for him to be all the way up in 9th place?
9th place.
9th place is amazing.
It is. So, and Hunter Hartman had the pace just blistering in that class on the first lap. And I don't know what happened to Hunter either, but he's out of this one. He only completed that first lap. But Devin certainly moved forward there. Continuing to check in with some of these other classes, seeing where some of the tight classes are. You know, the first and second places. I mean, there's the Pro-Am class has got 1 minute and 46 seconds between Collier and Hamilton right now. Another 52 seconds back to Wesley Wolf. 38 seconds back to Wes Kinsley. Kenny Schick 1 minute and 18 seconds back in the number 5 spot. College A class, 2 minutes and 20 seconds between Feehan and Walker, who is in second. Another 5:45, or now probably closer to 6 minutes over Brandon Eicher, the 3rd place ride. So obviously we are seeing that the gaps are widening in all the classes, and it's pretty much, I think, par for the course. Here's one of the tighter classes. Jeff Miller, Steve Covert, and Nick Mastrolangelo there. The Junior A class, about 35 seconds separating first and second, another 43.5 seconds back to the number 3 spot. I think I heard Megawatt trying to chime in there a moment ago, and he might have to take the audio down on his mic. It sounds like it's starting to feed back a little bit there, Megawatt, so whenever you're ready, buddy, just jump right on in there. Looking now at the Bet A class, 28-plus class, we got Dustin Hendershot has gotten around A.J. Kuntz. We were talking about those guys a few minutes ago at the halfway point. But since the lap 2 and lap 3 is completed, they flip-flopped around. Hendershot's out front, 1 minute and 33 seconds ahead of A.J. Kuntz now in that Bet 30-plus class. Joey Margari is still about 1 minute and 14 seconds back, another 3 minutes back to Brian Shaw, and only 28 seconds back to the Marlboro man. Looks like he's trying to make a mad dash here in the late part of the race of that Bet A 28-plus class. Again, Senior AB, Rusty Repass, 1 minute and 46-second lead over Mark Batson. They have another 11 minutes over Donnie Masters in 3rd, and Andy Cooper only 2 minutes behind Donnie Masters. Man, these are some pretty monumental gaps. But look here, the B classes are saving us as far as tightly contested races right now. First and second place in the College B class, Michael Anderson, 357 out of Cloverdale, Indiana, is leading that one. He and Joey Lambright turning nearly identical lap times last time around. 31:15.4 and 31:15.7 was the lap times there. The gap 1.9 seconds. And Fred, it sounds like those guys have been riding that pace and that gap for a long time in this race. In these conditions, I mean, obviously looking at how the other classes are doing, that's pretty impressive, I think, for those two to be able to be that tight.
Yeah, Ryan, those two have definitely latched on to each other, and they're kind of doing what Borg said he wanted to do with Walker. You know, he wants to get on him and race with him and stay with him, and that's exactly what these guys are doing. So it doesn't matter if you're the pro guys, the B guys, the C guys, you guys are all racing, and when you're right with them, man, it makes things happen.
Another minute back could be Corey Vandeliner, Morgan Flannery, 45 seconds back and forth. Chandler Berner is rounding out the top 5 in that one, a minute 42. So the gaps are a little wider, a little further back there in that College B class, but 1.9 seconds separating those guys. Ryan Bovis leading the Junior B class. Jake Callahan in second, about 39, almost 40 seconds back. A minute and a half back there behind him in third is Brian Felicki. We look at the Bet B class, 19 seconds flat separating those guys. Cord Blinkowicz and also Rocky Anderson in second. 31:07. This is what you got to be pointing out. Rocky Anderson's should be in the lead of this one now. If lap times are any indication, a 32:06 for Blinkowicz on lap 3. As it looks like Anderson turned a 31:07, so he's making up some time. That might be another highly contested tight race there, Fred.
You know, Rodney, like you said, there's tight races all along on this course. So every class has got some great racing going on. I know we only kind of catch the leaders on TV and get to talk about them, but these guys are all got close racing going on.
They certainly do, and right now we have 7.5 minutes before we'll be seeing Walker Fowler check in at the finish line, and this time for checkers. And that is going to put us a little bit over. If you look at it, we'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2 hours and 7 or 8 minutes, if calculations are correct here with this crew of riders. Hey, I got to hand it to Landon Wolf, man. Landon is back up to a number 6 spot. Remember, Landon was up front, fell way back, and now is back up to 6th place right now. As we look at his lap time, he's 27.5-minute lap time. That is 27:50 lap time. That is a 42-second faster lap than even Chris Borich in the number 5 ride. So in theory right now, Landon Wolf could very well be in that number 5 spot as we see Bryson Neal out
Cole
here.
Richardson going by.
Cole Richardson, yeah. Cole Richardson is up to 2nd now. What happened to Bryson?
Well, Cole Richardson was 2nd place going out on that last lap. Remember, Bryson Neal, we lost him.
Yeah, we did. We completely lost Bryson. I'm looking here now, and I don't even see if he's even checked in. There's another.
And I did see some Coastal guys walking backwards on the track like they were going to find him. You know, maybe his bike broke down or something. I never did even see him come through, Rodney.
He never has checked in for lap 4 complete yet. So Bryson Neal must have caught a rock or something.
Here comes Jared McClure right now through that rock section, so he's still in 3rd place behind the Cole train.
Look at that. Man, that's pretty wild. I knew that, but I didn't realize he dropped that far back, and we lost him completely off the radar. So there's Chris Borich having problems. There's Hunter Hart having problems out there from the College A class. We see that Bryson Neal's having problems out there. This has been a rather challenging race for some of our top contenders here today.
Yeah, Rodney, I mean, it's a lot of it is the track. This track is demanding. This track can take you out at any moment. Like we talked about earlier, there's all these big giant rocks and stuff going out there. It doesn't matter how good you got things. It's just a little bit of bad luck and a rock kicks up, boom. You know, that'll happen. You know, and that's like Cole Richardson right now. I was looking at the clock and I could have my numbers wrong, but I actually think he put a little bit of time on the leader. So I think Cole may be even catching up to the leader a little bit, but then also he's not pushing it. You know, when you're in the lead, you don't have to push it so hard the last lap when you had a 2-minute lead. So Cole Richardson is still pushing forward, and Jared McClure, he's still pushing, trying to catch.
Yeah, he was only 19 seconds behind last time around. Now, he was turning about a 20-second slower lap time than what Richardson was at the end of lap 4. Now, whether or not he was able to pick that pace up, I'm not real sure. It seemed about par, I think, when they came through on that last shot. Adam McGill was challenging back there in the 4th place position, about 32 seconds back. Borich at last check was 5th, but again, remember, he had dropped almost 3 minutes behind Adam McGill there to a 28:32 lap time. So right now, Chris Borich got his work cut out for him. Landon Wolf is trying to make up the ground out there on him, and that's why we're going to keep an eye on the number 11, the 11, the rider that I tease and tell him he's so special we gave him 2 number 1s. He said sometimes that might be more pressure on him than having a championship plate, to be honest with you, because he says there's 10 riders between him and that number 1 plate, and he's trying his best to chip away as many of those as he can.
Now, Rodney, right now, we've been waiting on Adam McGill to come by. I'm not sure if we missed him or not here in this rock garden or not, but he's our 4th place rider at this point with Chris Borich coming in after him.
Well, according to the clock on the TV, that says 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 14 seconds. And I've got on my computerized scoring 2 hours, 3.5 minutes, so I think that we might be a little off on that. So either way, we're rolling to the end of this race, and The number 1 will be should be looking to take the win here in just a few moments with Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, Adam McGill. Again, we still don't know what's going on in that number 5 position, as we're just waiting with bated breath to see if even Chris Borch is going to be able to finish this lap. If he'd thrown out the anchor that much, there's something mechanical going on, I think, for Chris.
Yeah, I think Chris Borch right now, he's just salvaging as many points as he can right now. He knows today's not his day, and like we said, he messed up. Maybe missed his setup or something, or maybe he's just not feeling good. You know, it happens. Not everybody can be perfect every day, and he's just going to get as many points as he can and then move on for next week in Ohio and regroup and go home.
You know, Renner, that we really haven't mentioned a whole lot today, but having probably one of his best rides of the year so far today, and that's the number 14 of Akron, Ohio's Josh Merritt. Merritt is back in the number 7 spot overall and in the XC1 Pro class. He's 13 seconds behind Wolf right now. If you look at the lap time, 28:37, he is a little bit slower than what Wolf was on that last time around. But like we said, this is one of Josh's better days as far as overall contention whenever we're heading in and through this final lap of racing.
Yeah, it's good to see, an Ohio boy like that. But I'm from Ohio. I like to see guys from Ohio do good. And, he's still plugging away. He keeps on going after it, getting better, working out a little bit harder, and his finishes are getting better and better each week. This is only going to give him a little more confidence if he can get that.
Well, right now,
7th place finish.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I was just trying to figure out what place he was in. But yeah, that 7th place finish should be a great finish for him for today.
2 minutes is what we're looking at right now before we anticipate your leader being in for checkers. And then we get to wait and see what happens after that. A lot of these questions that we have formed here in this final lap are definitely going to be answered here pretty soon. Again, man, there's a lot of changes. You see Cody Collier's up there leading his XC2 Pro-Am class. He's now dropped to 8th place overall, but still, actually, I think he's moved up to 8th place. He was like 10th and 9th and now moved up. Devin Fehan still steady again in 9th place overall in the College A class. Another, again, just an impressive feat that we see that College A performer being able to do here today.
You can see, Rodney, the dust hasn't gotten any worse than what it was at the beginning of the race, so that's a good thing. The wind's still blowing, the dust doesn't get any worse out here in these open fields, and we still got our beautiful view of all the mountains.
And we also got some of that nighttime moisture. Is that Borge checking in now slowly, but making his way through this section now? I don't know. I can't tell if the bike's not performing right or whether he may have had a get off or whatever the case may be, but right now things look to be okay as far as the bike performance is concerned.
Yeah, Ron, it looks like all the tires are up, and it looks like nothing was bent up that we could really see, and he's just having an off day, I guess.
Yeah, you'll have those, unfortunately.
And you can see why. Look at these guys coming through that rock, Rodney. That's LW himself. His back end was passing his front almost, and right now he's putting a charge on Chris Borch.
He was, 28 seconds? I think he might be a little tighter on him than that now.
Oh, for sure.
So that'll be pretty interesting to watch as this one rolls toward the finish line right now. Sounds like we might have Megawatt Matt Watson standing by. Maybe not. So right now, again, a lot of the questions that we have, what's going on with Chris? Is there anything that, any information on that? What happened to Hunter Hart out there earlier? Also that XC2 Pro-Am class, your early leaders in that one, as we were talking, there's a little bit ago, the early leader out front, pretty much dominating. We're talking about Greg Covert. He is still in 11th place of class, but he never has completed lap number 4, so he's out of that one. So Collier, Hamilton, Wolf, Kinsley, and Kenny Schick, your top 5. 6th place in that class is Marty Christopherson. He's able to make up some points today, but not near the points he could have if he would have been in a top 3 position there in that class. But every point's going to count. That's going to be a tight championship. I think folks that ought to be interested in, or folks that are interested in good racing, good championship battles, that's one to watch in the next couple of rounds when we head to Ohio next weekend, and then a few weeks later when we head to the Ironman GNCC in Crawfordsville, Indiana, to wrap this whole thing up.
Yeah, Ronnie, and number 1 has just come by the screen right here, so he's coming out to the big field sections now before the finish line. So there's really nothing challenging coming up for him right now. He's just got some ups and downs. You can see him on the bottom screen here on the right. He's got about 4 or 5 more turns. He's out in the open field, and the crowd's rooting him on, and he'll be putting another win in the checkered.
Yeah, another win in the history books and checkers, and
That was the word I was looking for. History book. I'm going checkered book. No, he's not putting one in the checkbook. He's putting money in his checkbook.
Hey, yeah, putting money in the checkbook and history in the history books.
And there's some guys right there happy to see him going by, going, man, we don't have to go another lap.
Wow, I don't know if this is
and
right.
Cole Richardson the same way, Rodney. He's coming by the top screen, and he's still in second place, coming out into the grassy sections, head to the finish line.
Well, there you go. Walker Fowler does it. It is another win here in 2016, and he just, if I'm not mistaken, actually passed Bob Sloan in the all-time ATV wins category, records ATV wins. Walker Fowler came into this when he tied it last round, and now Walker Fowler just popped off win number 25 of his career. Congratulations, Walker. Win number 25. He is now the 4th in the all-time wins list for GNCC ATV racing. That's a far cry from Chris Borch's 73, but if he keeps up at this pace, you never know. He might be knocking on the door of that before you know it, man.
Yeah, Rodney, for sure. There goes Jerry McClure. Just went through our screen up there on the top left, coming through the last rock garden. So he's just got the big open fields and the ups and downs that come through, and he'll be taking home a third-place finish on his Honda.
Wow, so what a day. Again, not the race we were expecting, not the race I think even our winner was expecting. He expected it to be a lot tighter, a lot of challenges in that one. And, wow, Cole Richardson, man, there was a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of questions about that rider whenever we came into this one, Fred, because, as we said, he had reacquired the C. diff that he was suffering from earlier in the season that pretty much took him back and out of contention for wins, for podiums, and for championship points. Now he's like 6th or 5th place in points right now, 6th place overall in points. So the grand scheme of things, it's not as bad as what it sounds like, but whenever you come in thinking you're going to be a top 3 overall rider at the end of the year, it's pretty huge.
Yeah, right, and from his finish he had it at Unadilla last weekend, he got a 6th, and they take that 6th and make it a 2nd this weekend. And if he can make these last few corners to come here at Masontown, I mean that's a huge gain for him.
It most certainly is, and right now we still wait. Walker checked in 27:02. They set a minute and a half behind his scheduled due time in, and that's exactly what it was, a 27:02. So that brought the overall race time up to 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 7 seconds for Walker Fowler there. Had he been about 2 hours and 8 minutes like I originally calculated there. So nonetheless, Walker Fowler is your winner. Cole Richardson is second, and the Cobra sneaking his way through the rocks out here into that number 3 position, holding steady once he got there. He finished up 33 seconds back. Richardson was only a minute 22 behind Walker Fowler, so he had actually chipped off about 38 seconds of that lead that Walker Fowler had. So Richardson second, McClure in third.
Looks like McClure coming right now for second though, Rodney, maybe.
Oh.
I didn't see. Did Cole come through?
Well, they're saying.
Okay, Cole came through. Okay, I missed him. Sorry.
Timing and scoring is telling us that he has already been through, unless I am.
Nope, you're right. Jared McClure comes in.
That's Adam McGill in the number 4 spot. So McGill, a minute and 5 seconds back behind McClure. Wasn't the day he was looking for, that's for sure, but a good salvage for him. Your AMSOIL Twitter contest winner is Lance Simmons at LSimmons28. All the movies with my daughter, so not able to watch. Oh, at the movies with my daughter, so not able to watch hashtag GNCC Live, but I'm going with an all at Yamaha ATV Racing podium. He says Fowler, Richardson, and Gallagher. Well, you got 2 of them right, and congratulations, Lance Simmons. Thanks for playing along even though you're at the movies with your daughter today. That right there is a true GNCC fan, there's no doubt.
Being at the movies, eating a big bowl of popcorn and a pop.
Oh,
you're listening to GNCC.
Yeah, and that was 2 hours ago. I'm sure he's catching the end of that. So congratulations to you, Lance Simmons, on your winning of the $250 in AMSOIL product. Folks, if you're here at the racetrack and you are wondering about AMSOIL product yourself, be sure to stop over here to the booth, check it out, and sign up to win the fully modified Mach 1 Mustang. That's a 1972 model valued at about $70,000 or something like that. They're going to be giving that away soon. Also, for those of you online, if you want to sign up to win, you can go to amsoil.com/muscle car, and there will be all the details that you want to sign up to win the fully modified Mach 1 Mustang. That's going to be a sharp one. Again, it's amsoil.com/muscle car. Sign up to win.
Can't win if you don't sign up, Rodney.
That's exactly it. Now we've got our top riders in the XC1 class checking in. Now we wait for our XC2 Pro-Am class riders to see how that's all going to pan out for us. Also, see whether or not Landon Wolf was able to get around Chris Borch there toward the end of this one or not. Again, there was about 3 minutes. Now, when we last saw Chris Borch, he didn't look like there was any problems or any issues that were plaguing him any. But with 3 minutes lost on that one lap, plus we know that something was huge. And there is Bryson Neal now making his way through. Remember, he hadn't checked in with lap 4 complete. So when Neal checks in this time, he'll be checking in with his 4th lap complete. And whether or not he'll be, I don't see him finishing top 20 overall. So there's only points scored.
Yeah, and he's got a long way to go right now. He's on the backside of the mountain. He's just not far from the finish line from making that one lap. And he had his goggles turned around backwards. So he must have had some bike trouble and finally got it going, or something happened to him.
What a heartbreaker.
But yeah, he's
there.
definitely not going to be a top 20 because I think he's a lap down already.
Yeah, he's already a lap down. So with that, he's going to try, I'm sure, to finish this lap, if nothing else. And
which is a heartbreak for him. You know, he rode the wheels off that thing, got up in the 2nd place, and Bryson was really going good. But that's part of racing. You never know. And, you know, and the best thing is it's the motorcycle. If they can fix that thing, if he would have got hurt, that's bad news. But the bike, we can accept that, you know, and put new parts and move on.
Well, I tell you, I really hope that this doesn't knock the wind out of his sails anymore, because talking with Bryson, he's got that smile, got that glimmer in his eye, but it's not nearly as a big a smile. It's not nearly as bright a sparkle as it was earlier in the year. You could tell a couple of not so par finishes, or off the podium finishes for him, or not par finishes. So that right there is kind of taking his toll on him, and he's letting it, I think, play mind games with him. And if that's the case, man, this could be pretty hard on him to finish a lap down. He's going to have to get this one washed out of his mind and move on and just focus on the future and quit worrying about the past from this point on.
But I think it may not be so bad because he knows he was there. He caught the pack. He passed him. He got up there and the bike failed. So he knows he's got what it takes, and he's on the right track to getting that podium finish that he deserves.
No doubt about that. Still waiting on Chris Borch. I haven't seen the number 4 make his way through yet, and to the checkers. Man, that's a pretty monumental gap. I'd say that we're looking at 3+ minutes. Landon Wolf, I don't know if he was able to close in on Chris Borch or not. Lap times indicate he was 40 seconds faster and only 47 seconds behind. So in theory, he should be at least pulled to within 7 seconds. And what's going on there?
I look like we got a little bit of a bottleneck here, and the one guy's quad has quit and is actually blocking the trail, and they can't get around him because there's so many rocks. So they're having to help push his bike out of the way, and then they got to get theirs through.
That's the kind of things that could have happened. Chris Borch down through the finish, from what I'm being told. He finishes 4.5 minutes back in the number 5 spot. Now, that's still a top 5 position. It's not the most respectable top 5 because 4.5 minutes is pretty tough, but flip side of that is it is very respectable considering you know how well he was doing. He had those problems, kind of disappeared off the radar for a few minutes, and then comes back in and is able to maintain, and that is pretty impressive. There's no doubt about it. But if Chris Borch, you were talking to Chris, he's probably going to say, yeah, it's an okay day. You know, I was able to salvage it. Deep down inside, it's eating at him. Deep down inside, he wanted to be on the podium, and even deeper down inside, he wanted to win.
Yeah, Rodney, he's like a true champion. He's going to take it in the chin and just be happy he got through it. But like you said, down inside, he knows he wants to win. It's been a while since he's been up there and won one, so that's what he's looking to do. And he's going to regroup, like I said earlier, and go back after it in Ohio. That's all you can do.
And that's what he's going to do. There's no doubt about that, as we'll continue to watch here at the finish line to see how the rest of these classes are, or at least our Pro-Am class and top amateurs, are panning out right now. Oh, wow, Josh Merritt got around LW there. Josh Merritt having, I believe, his season best run this week at 6th place here in the overall XC1 out of Akron, Ohio, on board that Yamaha. Then we've got behind him Landon Wolf, still not checked in. Wow.
Here's some good GNCC fans right here, Rodney. This guy here was the guy who was stuck down in that valley down there, and he tried pushing it up, and the other riders helped him. Now the fans are helping push him out of this rock garden.
Oh, that's Landon Wolf. That's what happened to Landon Wolf. Yeah, I sat there and I'm looking what happened to him as Merritt got around him, but that's exactly what it is. Look at that. Oh, they got him back going, it looks like.
I think he's just coasting out, Rodney. It's a big downhill right now. He's just coasting out in the field here, so that's unfortunate for him, too.
And he could be out of gas. That's another thing that we haven't thought about. You know, we haven't talked a lot about that. We didn't expect pitting to be much of a strategy today. I mean, it'd be like a normal run-of-the-mill type of thing, but what about these rocks, Fred? That's a good question. What about gas mileage and things like that? Would one think that gas mileage would be more, I mean, less? How does it work in these rocks?
No, I would think they wouldn't have had a problem with gas mileage today because everybody only stopped once. Some guys went one lap further than the other, but everybody stopped once, unless when they stopped, they really didn't get him full.
Right. That's a possibility. So, and it may not even be fuel at this point.
Yeah,
it could be a number of things.
Yeah, it could be anything, but either way, it's unfortunate for him. Another guy, you know, he had a great ride going. He had one of his best finishes going, and the last lap within 2 miles from the finish, you know, have bike trouble. That stinks.
Well, there you go. Cody Collier does it, the 2:01. I know he was, man, such a contender for last year's one of the top contenders in the class. He was looking to win the championship here this year. He's had his he's had his tough times here, no doubt about that, so far in 2016. But he's back on the winning way, it looks like, as the XC2 Pro class finished 7th overall, and we're still waiting on second place there in that class.
You know, and I finally figured out who that rider was that came by with the lights on. That was Landon Wolf. Landon Wolf was the guy, number 9, with the lights on going by there on the screen. And this section right here, these guys are just about through to the finish, and they're coming right now. They're getting to this rocky section. And after this rocky section, they got these nice grassy ups and downs here in the West Virginia mountains here, where they have this bunch of rock concerts. And I think... All right, you know what? Let's take a look at this scenic feature here that we have.
Majestic scenery that I think, and that's high atop Masontown, West Virginia there, as we say thanks to the community of Masontown. As again, you go, well, here it's about 4 miles from the exit of the Racer Productions exit to the Masontown exit, and it's about another 10 or 12 miles out to Masontown, probably about 9 miles to Masontown, another 5 miles up here on top of Marvin's Mountain. So, wow, man, I tell you, real close, and just being right here in the great state of West Virginia, the home stomping grounds of the original GNCCs, the 100-milers, if you will, in this whole little neck of woods right here. And we're talking a lot about that history. It's especially, I know Johnny Gallagher will have plenty to talk about tomorrow during the two-wheel portion of things, and his memories of these areas of racing here. We talked a little bit about it this morning in the pre-race interviews on the ATV side of things as well. And speaking of Johnny Gallagher, wonder how Johnny did today. He was running 10th place at one point there in the XC1 Pro class, and as we look at JG, that's where he's at right now, 10th place in the XC1 Pro class, but that's going to put him a little further back in the overall today, as I'm thinking... Well, I was thinking that he should still be top 10, but he may be, or top 20, but he may have gotten bumped out of the top 20 just barely there today, and that's certainly a heartbreaker for him there in that one, because I know he was hoping for much better results in today's racing. And you know, you'd think a lot of times that guys like Johnny coming into this one with the confidence and knowing he's raced on these types of terrains for many years might give him a little bit more of an edge than what we saw it doing. And actually, it might have been the edge that we saw him riding with that was giving him such a good turn of events and affairs there in the early part of the race.
Yeah, Rodney, Johnny's been at it a long time. I know when I was getting towards the end of my career, it seems like no matter how hard I trained, it seems like I could never get that edge and never could really get in shape like I was when I was younger. And, maybe that could be where Johnny's at right now. Johnny's out there right now. He's out there having fun because he still loves to ride that four-wheeler and enjoys what he's doing. He enjoys all the people. So every time he's out there, he's going to give it his all. But, we all want to do good all the time, but it just doesn't happen all the time, and Johnny's out there to enjoy himself.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it. I got one that's right here just tugging on my shirt tail right now, wanting to get out there. And Sonny, don't start till 4:30. He's been dressed since about 4:30 this morning. He got up early this morning. There's the micro race coming up, but it's going to be a few more minutes. We'll be back down at the starting line for micro racing coming up here in just a few moments, and we are going to be going here in looks like XC2 class. We got Collier in, Hamilton is in, and Wesley Wool finally finding his way back to the podium. And speaking of finding their way down to the podium, let's find our way down to the podium where Megawatt Matt Watson is standing by as we get set to congratulate our top 3 overall. Megawatt?
Hey, thanks a lot, Rodney. Hey, let's hear West Virginia for our top 3 overall. Jared McClure, the Sneaky Snake. In the 3rd place today. Standing over here in the 2nd, Cole Richardson. Let's hear it for Cole Richardson, you guys. And with the win today, Walker Fowler. One more time, West Virginia. Let me hear it. I thought we was in Kentucky for a minute. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, over here with the Sneaky Snake himself, Jared McClure. Now, Jared, I tell you, amazing race out there amongst the rest of you guys today, and I hate to say it like that. Walker was able to check out pretty early today, but I want to tell you something, an amazing race throughout the pro class.
Oh, yeah, the dust made it pretty interesting out there, a little sketchy in some spots. You're just kind of riding blind, watching your guy in front of his helmet, just trying to see what's happening to him and getting ready for it, so definitely makes it interesting. And like I was talking to Cole about it, sometimes you think the track's so rough, then you come through the next lap without the dust, you're like, now I know where to go, you're not riding blind, and you can pick smoother lines, so just kind of had some of that during the day. It was blind in the dust for most of the day, but just happy to be back up here.
Jared, truly one of those tracks that changes every lap, correct?
Yeah, like I said, especially when you can see it, so that, lets the rocks get more exposed. You can kind of see them, make your way around them, and like you said, it gets worse and worse here, and it's constantly changing, so you got to be on your toes and try not to wad the bike up.
Well, I know one thing, you did your homework, you put out the effort. You had a bunch of people I know you want to say thanks to for backing you up and getting you up on this podium again this season.
Yeah, for sure. First, my mom and dad, want to thank them for always being behind me with this. And then everybody came here today. Coyote out there helping me on the track. My dad for pitting. My buddy Jared for coming, helping me in the pits. Randy, he's my teammate, Races Pro-Am. He helps me out with some stuff. He got second today, so he'll be up here. Pretty pumped on that, getting both of us up here for first this time this year. Then John Bowers Motorcycle Supply. He's my main man, always builds my motors, keeps everything together for me. Also Harlan Foley, ATVriders.com, big supporter of mine. Douglas Tires and Wheels, this is a test here in these rocks and stuff, and obviously, we're up here with 4 tires and wheels looking good, so got to thank them guys a lot too. Elka Suspension, Texera Tech, Spider Graphics, HMF, Impact Solutions, Dirtworks Motorsports, Weisco, Bell, PowerMad, Mark Spataro, MotorPro Chain, Baldwin Motors for building this awesome motor, man. Thing rips out here in these fields. KG Clutches, Precision, Racing Products, Pivoworks, Motion Pro, Bellray, IMS, Rockwell, Darkstar MX, Tire Balls. You couldn't do a race without tire balls. Just all the fans, all my friends, everybody. Can't thank enough you guys for these awesome trophies, even though Walker got a bigger gun.
Congratulations, Jared McClure. Make some noise, you guys. Jared McClure, 3rd place today. We're going to make our way over here. We call him the Cole Train. Cole, I tell you, you had a huge smile on your face, man, when you came off of that racetrack. Tell us a little bit about your day in the trenches.
Well, we got off to, I think, a 9th place start, so, I definitely was sucking a lot of dust out there, and I hooked up with Jared and McGill was behind me, got around me, and both those guys kind of dusted me out, and I kind of fell back a little bit, and, I was like, I think it's go time now. I kind of see the track and realized how where I can actually put my quad out and where the rocks were, and just started peeling off some time, and I actually thought Jared was landing for some reason, and then I saw the number 3, and I was like, all right, and I caught up to him, and he let me around, and me and him kind of started pushing each other to see if we could close the gap on Walker, I guess, and he ended up getting around McGill also, and I guess we're here.
You know, you told me you do your best rides, man, when you start near the back. And you're like, now, I'm not going to suggest that you let these guys go every week, but, man, I got to tell you, you are 100%, and it's a thing of beauty, man, to watch you come through the pack.
Yeah, I mean, I've always seemed to have good racers getting bad starts, which makes no sense, but, it happens. So, like I told my dad going into this race, I was like, I wouldn't mind a bad start, but I don't want it, and I got it. So, and it kind of holds true. I ended up second today, so just to be able to work through the dust and, the hard terrain out there without all these West Virginia natives, and just everybody out here and all the fans that help us and put us through all the lines, couldn't thank them enough.
Awesome. Great job, Coltrane. Who else you want to say thanks to, my man?
I'd like to thank the whole NFAB Pro Yamaha team. Walker, when we get out to locals and ride, he pushes me a lot, and we just have some good battles, and we get to learn a lot from him. My mechanic, Aaron, for me getting second, that's him getting second too. I couldn't be more happy. My bike lasted. The only casualty was a skid plate, so we'll take that. Gold Speed, I picked up them over summer break, and as you can tell, they're still in one piece. They did awesome. FMF, MSR, gear alloy wheels, Cycra, just everybody out there, Maxxis tires, and just the whole GNCC crew and everybody out here.
Hey, make some noise for Cole Richardson, you guys. Second place today. Over here in the middle, one more time. Way Fast Walker Fowler. Hey, man, what do you think of that trophy?
It's been a while since we got one of these, so it feels pretty good.
Right on. Hey, Walker, we talked just a few minutes ago during our TV interview. You got out front. It looked like you made no mistakes. And, maybe the mistakes weren't visible to us. Maybe they weren't there. But I can tell you, been very consistent the last few rounds, not seeing any mistakes out of it. And that has to be key to the performance.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's one of the things that we kind of figured out as a champion and coming through the ranks and growing up, on Bill Balance's team. And the guy was just so buttery smooth. And then you get your rear end handed to you by Chris Borich year after year. You learn how to be a smooth, consistent rider, and the guys, same thing. Those guys don't make any mistakes. So learn from the best and finally putting it to use.
A lot of people would call that maturing. I don't call that maturing. I just call that using what was shown to you. Taking good advice is what I call that, and you certainly do. You do exactly what you plan to do. You put your plan into action, and you're one of those guys who can implement things and stick to it. So congratulations on another huge win here today, dude. You look fantastic.
Appreciate it. It was definitely a rocky one, man, and it's not that I don't think I do well in the rocks, but I don't ride it very often. Up northern Ohio, we don't have a lot of that. We got some good lonely dirt and some slick clay, but we don't have a whole lot of rocks that look like they're growing out of the ground. And I always forget how tough this place is. I think as far as rock gardens and gnarliness goes, I honestly think if it would rain, it would be worse than snowshoe. But it's awesome. All the fans, even though we're an Ohio guy, all the West Virginia fans, see the hats and everything. Everyone was on board today with us, so thank you guys. It makes it so much fun out there when everyone in the crowd is having a good time. And also, congrats to my bud Cole Richardson getting up here, getting these 2 Yamahas 1-2. Looks good, and it's good to get one step closer to getting this championship done.
And that was my next question. It had to feel good. You just answered that for me. Now, I know there's a bunch of people supporting this number 1 machine right here. Who you want to say thanks to, bud?
Definitely got to give the glory to God above. Definitely the whole Maxxis NFAB Pro Yamaha team. My mechanic, Mark Notman, the whole Notman family was here. The Richardsons, thank you guys so much for everything you guys do. Steve in the Woods, thank you so much. Like I said, all these awesome fans, thank you guys. It's so awesome. Lone Star Racing, Toby Reed at Motor Experts, we got this thing starting good, and I think that's another thing that really has changed in my program is getting into the woods, pretty much top 3 at every race this year. Had some hole shots earlier, and man, does that make it for a good day. You don't have to eat as much dust and make 1 or 2 passes and check out.
Who else you want to say thanks to, boss?
Definitely the whole FMF crew, Hill International Trucks, MSR, GYTR, Yamalu, Graphic Works, DP Brakes, Gold Speed Wheels, held up good in the rocks. Atlas Neck Brace, Moto Seat, D&V Trucking, Anti-Gravity Batteries, IMS, Fuel Customs, DID, Wiseco, CV4, Cycra, webcams, Precision, VP Racing Fuels. Thing definitely smells good, and we got some good octane in there. Tire balls, holy cow, is that an important one for today, man.
We got 2 flat tires in the back. Maxxis is an awesome tire, but every once in a while I do make a little bobble and catch an edge. So we had them tire balls in there, and that saved our butts for sure. Scott goggles, Fox suspension, Vortex fast. I don't even know what that says. We're outerwears, A+ powder coatings, a local powder coater in town. TM Design Works, my man Paul Turner, always watching our races. Mr. Bill Balance, thank you. Andy Bob, thank you guys. ODI, Bell, my man Luke Barker helps do some of our video series, so he's standing over here. If you want to ask him when the next one's coming out, you give him hell. And definitely, I just got to, like I said, congrats to everyone up here, and here we go.
Congrats, Walker. Base of Town, make some noise, you guys. You know what time it is, man. You know exactly what to do with that big boy right there. Jared, there's one for you. Coltrane, I'm going to get out of the way. I can tell you this much. These kids right here look real thirsty. That's all I got to say about it. I'm going to step out of the way and let you guys do your thing.
Well, there you go, folks. Win number 25 for Walker Fowler. Now the number 4 rider on the all-time ATV wins list. And right now, as we get ready to celebrate, as we like to say in GNCC, to the victor goes the spoils. And the spoils of GNCC, the sweet, sweet spray of champagne. Yeah. Hey. Go ahead. Couple other notes of interest there. As we told you, that moves Walker up into the 4th place position as far as all-time wins on ATVs. That puts him now 14 behind Barry Hawk, who has 49 ATV wins. So it'll be a little while before he moves up into the number 3 rank, but that's a pretty good record and a pretty good thing to accomplish here for Walker Fowler in celebrating what looks like going to be his 2nd championship season here. And if things continue to roll like they did today, there's going to be a lot more of those. Also, another note of interest there is that with that finish, Cole Richardson actually moved 2 points ahead of the 3rd place finisher there, Jared McClure. So now looks like Cole's going to be 5th in points heading into the final 2 rounds. Well, it looks like that's going to wrap it up for the day. Fred Andrews, Megawatt, thank you very much again for all the great commentary that you have afforded us. And to all you viewers out there in TV land and Racer TV land, we'll see you back here again tomorrow. God bless your heart and all your vital organs.
Hey, go ahead, Walker. Got something else you want to say?
Yeah, we always forget. I don't know why they're never on the list, but our guys at Carb Sport, man, this stuff is, it tastes good and it keeps us running all day. The bike needs fuel, but we need human race fuel, so everyone at Carb Sport, thank you guys. It's a big part of our program.
Hey, right on, man. You guys all 3 use Carb Sport. I use Carb Sport, too, as a matter of fact. Great bunch of guys out there, so I'm glad you mentioned them again. Give us just 1 second. We're going to get our XC2 riders up here. XC1 hole shot went to Chris Borsch. Chris Borsch with the XC1 hole shot, and